So you can catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan scratch it. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it.
What you know about classic music?
Hey, what's up, everybody? We almost did it. I almost didn't do the intro before the intro ended. To be fair, this is kind of your fault because you stopped sharing screen.
I had to, yeah, because I was counting down. We were about to go lame, right?
Yeah, I forgot about the countdown part, but it's okay. We're doing another retro. I can't believe we're doing this many retros in a month, but it's happening, so I'm happy about that. Let's introduce my guest before we talk about the show that we're going to do, unless you can't read because it says SummerSlam 03, but whatever. First, the person that picked the show, the person that got flipped off by Cody Rhodes at ROH Best in the World, the person that we had to make sure was okay at AEW All Out 2019 live reactions, Casey Gallagher. How are you today?
Oh my god.
Beat to hell, and I'm pretty sure that was 2020.
No, it's 2019.
Nah, it's 2019. 2020, we weren't allowed.
Yeah, 2020.
2020 is a shit year that I don't want to talk about. Fuck that year. Okay, cool. They're on the same page. As you were saying.
You honestly, I would hope a lot of you could read, but God knows there's plenty of people in this country that have graduated illiterate.
Yeah.
I'm one of them. Hi.
And he graduated with a college degree, people. Bachelor's degree. And this fucker still can't read.
You bastards.
To be fair, I'm one of them too. I did call Gary Wolf Grey Wolf by accident one of the retros, so
I don't know how you did that.
Okay, that was just funny. That was just funny.
Gary is Grey Wolf now. I love it.
The next guest, the person that's been on probably the most retros with me, the person that's given WWE a chance again now that it's changed ownership, and the person that has hated the WWE the most out of anybody I've known, James the He-Man here. But how are you today?
Wrestling's good. I'm having a good time. I'm doing good stuff. I got a new mouse.
Good.
So yeah, I'm pretty good. And
You also beat the shit.
I'm also tired because I did clean a lot yesterday.
I like how I think I'm the only. It's not. If we did this show like Monday or like Sunday or Saturday, I think we'd all be tired. We should have just done it those days because we all would have had something in common today. The only thing that's beat the shit. The only thing that's beat the shit on me are my glasses, but that's it.
Yeah,
so
there you go. Yeah, we know why that is.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about today's retro. Today was Casey's pick. This is probably going to be the last SummerSlam that we review in the SummerSlam series, unless we get
at
to know
least for a while.
Noah will at some point get to his pick, so that will probably be the very last one. When we get there, I think hopefully by next week we'll actually be able to schedule a day with him, and then that will be the final retro, and then that ends our SummerSlam coverage pretty much for this month, and then we get the UK shit.
So the show today that I picked is WWE SummerSlam 2003. It took place in around this time, I believe, in 2003. It emanated from the America West Arena in Phoenix, Arizona, with a little over 16,000 in attendance.
That's correct. Now, do you remember the buy rate, Casey?
That I don't.
Okay, so the buy rate it was actually the lowest buy rate since 1997. I think because the company had been on a little bit of a decline. Because '03, even though SmackDown was good, still wasn't the best year for WWE at this time. I think this is kind of like, because there was no WCW or any of that. I think this one, and a lot of the big stars left from the Attitude Era and stuff.
This is like not long after they botched the Invasion angle to utter shit. Yeah. And then tried to do their own draft with their own shows, which didn't nearly hit as hard, and I think a lot of people tuned out.
I'll tell you what I know this isn't 2002. I just want to tell you the buy rate from 2002, just so you know how much of a decline the buy rate was. It was 540,000. The buy rate for this one is 415,000. So a huge decline.
Jesus Christ.
That's a little over 20%, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. I'm not good at math, so if you're good at math, just
that's
do the
like
math.
that's like almost 100,000 people. Just like no.
Yeah.
No. I'm good.
Yeah. When you kind of see some of the storylines that play on the show, maybe I kind of understand, but we'll talk about those.
Yeah.
So before we actually talk about the storylines, Casey, usually when someone picks a retro, I have them say why they picked this retro. Now, obviously, you can tell us now if there's something on the show that made you pick this retro. We can just wait till we get there. But what was the reason you picked this retro? Because this is no offense to you. We talked about this off air. This isn't a retro that I would necessarily expect to be picked by you. I would expect this to be picked, no offense to him, but by Chris Dodd or something like that.
Yeah, well, as I said to you guys off air, this was the first SummerSlam I watched, and I watched it well after the fact, about 10 years after the fact, honestly. I got it in a 2-pack at Walmart with Unforgiven, the following month's Unforgiven, and honestly, I picked it up because I was a thirsty horny early 20s guy, and Sable was on the cover.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, let me see if there's any more trivia before we stop by talking about this show. For a change, there's no tagline. I think there's been a tagline for every SummerSlam we reviewed thus far. No tagline, so that's
Although I will say this, I do have to rant a little bit about one thing.
Go ahead.
I watched this because I don't have access to the DVD anymore, unfortunately. They did their typical thing of replacing the theme music they actually used with generic rock track. The pay-per-view theme for this month had been Saint Anger by Metallica.
Yep.
Right.
I just listened to that.
Yeah.
At one point was like one of Jim Johnson's go-to bands to call up for like third-party music licensing, which is like crazy.
Yeah.
That they used it here. Like, they would go on to use them later. Like,
All Night Mail Long in 2008 for No Mercy, and Frantic from the same album, for the Takeover 30 match between between Karrion Kross and Keith Lee.
They used Metallica too. I forget which song for the Undertaker's Hall of Fame induction, like video package and stuff too. So
that would be sad but true.
Oh, yeah. So, still though, like
it's crazy because like they don't use them nearly as much anymore, mainly because they're in this weird pop phase, or they were in this weird pop phase. Now
that's over.
I'm hoping that's over with Triple H in charge. Please, God, I don't want to hear Kevin Rudolph ever again. Fuck.
Yeah. That's the guy who did the theme song for 2012, right?
Yes. Yes.
He also did the theme song for WrestleMania 26.
Oh my gosh! But anyhow, So,
which I gotta say before we move on, despite the theme choice, WrestleMania 26, not a bad show overall.
Yeah.
Better than most.
But yeah, before we start talking about about James Rose on my end.
No, he's still going. He's still going. I see him.
They're both froze on my end.
Ah, shit. Yay.
Hold on, wait. It's me that's bad.
Well, I mean, you're still moving on my end, so.
Yeah, we can still see you. I think he's switching Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Just give him a second to do his thing.
Nah, you're good. We can
Yep.
see you.
Yep. We see you.
I'm good. I just had to switch. I just switched Wi-Fi, so
That's what we figured. All right, let's.
do not. But the rant I wanted to do before, yeah, you can just tell when they dub music in, because especially during the video package, like the music will be so loud you can like barely hear the video package. It's so bad.
Oh,
like,
speaking of butchering packages, they also took out half the opening. They also took out half the speech on the opening promo package on Peacock.
So you have to tell me about it then. Let's talk. Let's start off by talking about the show, though. We're going to start off with the Sunday Night Heat, because that took place a little bit before then. I'll just break it down real quick, since you know, you guys want...
What jobber got squashed this week?
It actually, I do know this. They did talk about this later on in the show. Zach Gowen was supposed to be on Sunday Night Heat. Actually, was he supposed to be on Heat or the main card?
Probably the main card, but they demoted it to... What they did they demoted the Heat probably, since he wasn't there. So.
Yeah, and we'll get into why later.
But yeah, he was supposed to face. I'll just talk about it now since we're talking about Sunday Night Heat. So Zach Gowen was supposed to face Matt Hardy on this show.
Yep, Matt Hardy version 1.
Yep, and it didn't happen because Brock Lesnar killed Zach Gowen basically killed Zach Gowen.
Pretty much, yeah, in front of the poor kid's mother.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, was that the same? That was the same segment where he freaking F5'd his leg into the post, right?
Yes.
Yes. Flight of stairs.
Yes.
No,
I don't know about tossing. I don't know about tossing him down a flight of stairs, but he F5'd his leg into the post, busted him open badly.
Okay.
Yeah.
His mother was literally crying in the front row, and they were stretchering him off up the ramp, and Brock Lesnar just comes sprinting up, knocks everybody down, throws Zach Gowen off the stretcher, takes a bit of his blood from the support pad and rubs it on his chest like a trophy.
Which has like been used several times, like before he came back, like in 2012 and stuff, when they show footage of Brock. So he was supposed to face Matt Hardy on this show. Instead, they just did an angle where Matt Hardy came out and he won by forfeit. Yep. Like a good angle, good way to get heat on Matt Hardy. Obviously, they would do the match at No Mercy, I think, where Matt Hardy won because, you know, they had given up on Zach Gowen by this point. And if you want to know what both wrestlers are now, you know, Matt Hardy would continue the version 1 gimmick. He would eventually transfer him back into the Hardy Boys gimmick, kind of, and go babyface after he returned.
Mainly because of Lita cheating on him, for real.
Yeah. So then he had the feud with Edge that he came out worse off for it. And he just kind of floundered in the mid-card. Then he teamed up with his brother again in 2006 up until, like, 2008 off and on. And he was, like, ECW champion. He turned heel
against his brother because apparently he killed his dog. Yeah,
that was bad. And then he turned back into a babyface. And then he just had no interest in being in the company, so he left in 2010.
So apparently Matt Hardy is the embodiment of drug abuse.
Yep. Yeah. He would have a really bad run in TNA, mainly because he was big into drugs at that time and all that type of stuff, and he just didn't look very healthy and all. So
TNA was a bad one, and then he went to Ring of Honor, I think, for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I met him at.
Yeah, like a feud with Kevin Owens and Scum. Yeah. Apparently.
I met him at Top Rope actually one time actually.
Nice.
So the only wrestler I bet that's known how to spell my name actually. So.
How do people not know how to spell Owen?
I don't. That's what. Why do you think I asked Bret Hart that question?
Well, now I get it. Jesus Christ.
So then,
what the hell?
I wonder if there's like another way to spell it that like I don't know about. So that's why. But
I guess people always thinking you can't spell Owen without win. So
yeah. But then you know, Matt Hardy went back to TNA. Did the broken gimmick, which, like, you know, made cinematic matches, and cinematic matches became like a well-known, like a more known thing.
He had a run in TNA as well that actually started. I think that run before started when they recreated a TLC like match with the Wolves and along with the Dudleys.
And then Big Money Matt. then Big Money Matt before that.
Yeah, Big Money Matt, which transitioned into Broken, which then transitioned into the freaking Expedition of Gold. Then him and Jeff came back to the WWE. And then,
they did the Hardy Boys thing for a while, and then instead of being Broken, he was Woken because they didn't have the rights to the gimmick, but they found a loophole. Vince didn't understand the Woken gimmick, and then Matt Hardy also got injured, so they decided to not have him do the Woken gimmick, even though he still could have done the Woken gimmick.
Buried him and Bray really bad.
Yeah.
Had him lose a fucking B team.
And then he returned. No, because he got injured, then he returned and did the Hardy Boys thing, but then Jeff got hurt, so then he basically was just jobbed out the rest of his career.
Until he just decided to leave and then went to AEW, and that's where he's been since. You know.
He's had, a bit of a
rocky run. So-so run, yeah. I'll say.
Like, the Broken gimmick didn't get over like they thought it would. And then, Big Money Matt has worked out. I think a lot of people didn't like it a lot, but I thought Big Money Matt worked out well for him for a while. And then when Jeff Hardy went to AEW, he did the Hardy Boys thing, but because Jeff Hardy got arrested, they don't have anything for him right now. So this is a message, by the way. Drugs and alcohol affect other people because it's affected Matt Hardy's career right now. So, as for Zach Gallen...
since we brought that up, might as well just bring this up. Thanks, Jeff, you fucking prick. Anyway.
Yep. And then as for Zach Gallen, he basically would just, get jobbed out left and right after this Brock Lesnar attack, and he left the company, in 04. He got really bad into, speaking of drugs and alcohol, he got really bad into drugs and alcohol. I think mainly drugs during his indie run. And then he's been back wrestling in the indies, and he hasn't really done a whole lot wrestling-wise, basically after his WWE one. So, for Zach Gallen.
Yeah. So the one guy in wrestling to be able to do it with one leg.
I know. On a big stage and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be real. He wasn't even supposed to be. He wasn't the guy that they wanted anyway. They got the wrong guy. They hired the wrong guy. That was another thing. They actually had another one-legged wrestler that they wanted to hire, and they hired Zach instead. And
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, basically Zach just kind of fell into the right place at the right time, or later on in the wrong time. I mean, that's basically what happened, because he wasn't even supposed to be the guy that they hired in the first place. It was supposed to be somebody else entirely.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Going on to the actual match that took place on the Sunday Night Heat show, it was commentated by Taz and Michael Cole, who were the SmackDown commentary team, and there was a SmackDown match on the show, so it made sense to go that way. If you want to know what Michael Cole is, we did a whole thing about it in past SummerSlam reviews. As for Taz, we haven't done it, but I don't think we've done it for Taz. We've forgotten.
I think we did. No, we did it for 2002. I think, did we not?
I don't think we did. So I'll just say real quick.
Taz would commentate on SmackDown for a while. Then ECW. ECW with Joey Styles, which he vehemently said he hated his time during this time. All the way up until he went back to SmackDown in 2008 with JR, which was a little bit more tolerable for him, and then it eventually went downhill again, and then he said, I can't do this, and went to TNA.
He actually offered to commentate WrestleMania 25 for free, which I think shows how much he loves commentating, I think, which is kind of crazy that he offered to commentate that show for free.
Yeah, they didn't even want him on there. They were going to just do a 3 freaking man booth, and they didn't put him on the show at all.
I know. It was a
fucking crock of shit.
Yeah. But yeah, then he did.
He left and then went to TNA. He was done. And then he had a run as a babyface commentator after a failed run with the Main Event Mafia. Let's just call it what it is. And then he then had a better heel run with the Aces and Eights commentary, which I actually enjoyed.
I liked
that
it
was
in
his best time in TNA.
I liked it in places, but it got kind of annoying out. It wasn't as annoying as heel Michael Cole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it can't be any worse than Cole as a heel, right? I mean, come on. You know, and then that eventually disbanded, and then he just be a babyface commentator up until Impact was just done. He would host his radio show for a while, which I actually called in a couple times, which, you know, fun fact.
The most famous one I've seen is the one where he just buries Raw in like 2018.
Which absolutely was fucking justified at that time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, was it justified?
Yeah.
I'm so glad Taz did it. And then Taz is the only one that will give it to you straight, whether you love him or hate him.
Yeah.
And then 2019, AEW was a thing, and he would eventually get hired by that company, where he has been ever since. Had a great run both as a commentator and as a manager. Team, now he a lot of people now he ran Team Taz up until a couple of weeks ago. Team Taz is now since disbanded, and a lot of people say, well, they always floundered. I disagree at this point, because I think a lot of people forget when Taz disbanded the group, every single member that was left in that group was fucking elevated right before it disbanded.
Except Cage, except Brian Cage.
Except Cage, but even he's fucking doing bits with the Gates of Agony right now in the trio division.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, think of it like this, right? Brian Cage, about to probably be a Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champion. Hook, FTW champion. Ricky Starks, a big time fucking rock-like babyface. Will Hobbs just became a monster fucking heel.
Yep.
That's big before you fucking disband a faction.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking thing before. That's the last thing you see of Team Taz.
And we remind you, he may not have been part of Team Taz, but Taz's son
he was part of Team Taz.
Was he? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like
you would never know it by the end, but he absolutely was a part of Team Taz. That was like the final thing.
And he is now the FTW champion.
Big time.
Yep.
You know, that's huge. Like they made 3 stars in basically the span of a segment.
Yeah.
That day. So that was really good.
Which, by the way, before we go on, that's probably the most wholesome thing I've seen in wrestling is Taz talking up Tyler backstage after he won the FTW title.
Yeah, I mean, not even just that, too, but, I mean...
Brought a tear of joy to my eye to see that.
Bro, he was legit emotional seeing Ricky and him go at it for the belt, man. Like, that, I've never seen him that emotional. I've never heard him that emotional in my life. Like, that
I was there live when that happened. The crowd erupted when Hook came out to challenge Ricky Starks for the FTW.
So based. Beyond belief.
And when was this? Because I might need to watch this.
This was what was that? A couple weeks ago.
This was like maybe a month. It was July 27th episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
Okay.
On that episode, Ricky Starks lost the FTW title after an open challenge to Hook.
Yeah.
And then
that's when
Ricky turned babyface right thereafter, and then Hobbs turned on Ricky right as he uttered his name on the mic.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a big day for Team Taz. The last thing Team Taz ever did. And like I said,
so good.
Now it looks like Taz is going to be like the main guy on commentary on Dynamite.
Which I am cool with, to be fucking honest with you. Like, I've been saying for months, put Tony Schiavone as your interview guy. He's your Mean Gene. He's the guy with seniority. Put him on Rampage. You have another show for that. That's why he does commentary for that show now. Totally.
It's not exactly that way, because he does do commentary for like the first hour of Dynamite, which is fine, you know.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, it's like, you know, he holds the seat warm for JR every now and again.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
So let's get to the match that was on, Sunday Night Heat. It was for the Cruiserweight Championship. It was Rey Mysterio defending against Shannon Moore.
It was a decent little match, to be fair.
Yeah.
On paper, that is not a bad match.
So basically the backstory was, that Rey Mysterio had won the championship for Matt Hardy like in May on SmackDown. and obviously because Shayna Moore was in a lot
crazy to think Matt Hardy was a cruiserweight champion.
I know.
No, they had a really good match at Mania too. Like that was a really awesome match at WrestleMania. I think Ray went into to WrestleMania 2003, WrestleMania 19 as cruiserweight champion.
No, Matt did.
Did he? Oh wow.
Yeah, Ray won the belt from him in May of 2003, and then
I'm stupid.
So then because Shannon Moore was a tag team with Matt Hardy, he ended up going for the belt. Now here's a trivia question: Does anybody know who Rey Mysterio was supposed to face on this show for the championship?
I feel like it had to have been either Tajiri or Ultimo Dragon.
It was Ultimo Dragon,
yeah,
but
I was right on the ladder.
But when they brought in Ultimo Dragon, he wasn't the star that they expected him to be. So obviously that match was nixed. So
it's Ultimo fucking Dragon.
I'm just giving you the facts. I'm not telling you it's right or wrong.
Well, let's just call it what it is. It's Vince being a dumbass as usual because how are you going to bring in a guy like Ultimo Dragon and then take one look at him and say he doesn't have it anymore, but yet you give, and I don't give a fuck if Ric Flair fans come at me for this. You give Ric Flair time after time after fucking time to fucking prove himself in the ring until he finally has a very good match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
How do you give a guy like that a fucking chance, but you look at fucking Ultimo Dragon, who is tailor-made for that fucking cruiserweight division, and say, fuck him.
I don't understand it either. Yeah, really good match here. It went like 2 minutes, maybe if that. But I thought with what the time they were given, they really showcased
themselves. Yeah, they made
themselves.
the most of it. Shannon Moore, I mean, it's funny, like, out of all the signings that, TNA would make in 2010, Shannon Moore was one of the ones I actually enjoyed.
I know, yeah.
And probably, I would even venture to say, should have done more with. And they
absolutely
never did. Especially with the Inc. run. I thought that was an underrated tag team there.
Same.
Like, and I thought that he should have at least been exited the champion once. He always contended for the fucking belt, but they never did anything with it. And I don't know.
I know.
I always enjoyed him in the ring. I always enjoyed his character. I always enjoyed how he tried to, improve himself. I feel like he's a vastly underrated talent.
But yeah, the really good match here. It was really just a lot of high flying moves, but eventually Rey Mysterio hit the 619 into the West Coast pub, and Rey Mysterio retained his Cruiserweight Championship. I went 3.5 mainly just because I'm really impressed with what they did with the time they were given. The fact that they only had like 2 minutes and the match was as good as it was. I thought that was really impressive.
That was SmackDown's Cruiserweight division in a nutshell. They made the most out of what they were given.
Yeah.
We already covered where Rey Mysterio is now, I think in the last couple videos, especially 2002 and 2012, so go check that out if you haven't.
As for Shannon Moore, I'll break that down real quick. He would stay as like a mainstay in the Cruiserweight division, and then when the Cruiserweight division folded, he formed a tag team with Jimmy Wayne that I never understood, but it happened.
And they made it work, and that was a very underrated tag team too.
Yeah, and then he was released.
You're skipping over his... Sorry, hold on.
His ECW one, right?
You're a poser. Punk slaps the shit out of him, buried instantly.
Yeah.
What the fuck were you thinking here?
And then
fuck.
He would go on to get released in 2008. He got signed into TNA in 2009, formed the Inc. tag team as we talked about, contended for the X Division Championship, but never won it. They would form Inc. Was it him or his partner that like feuded with Bubba Ray Dudley or something? No, but like him trying to prove himself. I'm pretty sure that did happen.
I believe so. Yeah, that's how it started. Yeah.
And then he had his last match in TNA challenging Robbie E for the television championship, and then he got injured in that. I don't know if in that match, but he had some type of back injury, so he left the company. He stopped wrestling for 2 years, and then he went on to wrestle in the Indies. for a period of time until 2017, and he hasn't wrestled since. I don't think he's retired, but at the moment, he has not wrestled since 2017. So
somebody should bring him in, if for no other reason than the fucking makeup for just bullshit. Dead serious. Like I don't know if you hear me out, Case. Like, we got what's his face, Hardy doing nothing. Why not bring Shannon Moore in?
I know, that'd be cool.
Might as well. I mean,
yeah.
Seriously, the team I'm thinking of. So they already had the AAA thing where they had Johnny Hardy, even though he's not a Hardy, right? But you could have Johnny Elite when he comes back from injury. There's a trio right there: Matt Hardy, Johnny Elite, and fucking Shannon Moore.
I'd love it.
Not a bad trio.
Not a bad trio at all.
Now, Casey, I know you didn't get a chance to watch this, but is there anything you want to add to the conversation about the Sunday Night Heat match?
If a 2-minute match can get 3.5 stars, y'all need to link me to this.
Yeah, it's really good. I saw it on Facebook randomly, ironically enough. I was like,
I sent it. Yeah.
Oh, did you send it to me? That's why I saw it then. I guess it just auto-recommended because you sent it to me, but...
So, yeah, send that match my way. I want to see that.
Yeah. All right. So then we had the show. We had the commentary team of Jerry the Kid Lawler, and I copied this from my SummerSlam notes. So apparently it was only Lawler and Cole on commentary, but that's wrong.
JR.
It was Jerry the Kid Lawler and JR for Raw, and Michael Cole and Taz for SmackDown. If you want to know where they all are, again, watch SummerSlam 2002 or SummerSlam 2012. Retros, I believe we broke it down there.
And of course, they gave a minute to highlight the Spanish commentary team, Hugo Savinovich and Carlos Cabrera at the time.
Yeah,
Hugo Savinovich these days, I believe, is commentating for AAA.
He is. They just reformed Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Savinovich. We formed earlier this year on AAA. It got
it was a very emotional fucking reunion, from what I understand too.
It's actually like one of the best commentary reunions I've ever seen. I know that's not saying much.
Yeah, I don't recall like a lot of commentary reunions where they're just like hugging and crying.
Yeah.
Well, either way, this I gotta see. So send that my way too.
Yeah. As for other people that were on the show, the interviewers.
Hey, Hugo, if you listen to this, one of these days, you gotta call a low blow spot, and especially if a babyface does it to a big time bastard heel, you're just gonna be like, "Que atención, viene, go!"
Yeah,
you gotta do it once, bro. You got it.
As for the other people that played a role on this show, and non-wrestling wise, the interviewers was Jonathan Coachman, at least in the beginning portions of the show, and Terry Reynolds. The ring announcers were Howard Finkel for Raw, Tony Jimmel for SmackDown. If you want to know where Howard Finkel and Tony Jimmel are, watch our SummerSlam 2012/2002 reviews. And as for referees, it was Nick Patrick, Chad Patton, and Earl Hebner for Raw. Watch our SummerSlam reviews if you want to know where they are. And as for
Charles Robinson, Mike Chioda, and I think Brian Hebner for SmackDown.
It was Mike Chioda, Brian Hebner, and Mike Spokes for SmackDown.
Oh right, Mike Sparks. My bad. Although Charles Robinson did show up, I seem to remember seeing Charles Robinson at least once.
Yeah, he did show up. I read over it because there's so many referees. My blue snowball at the moment is in front of my screen, so obviously it makes it hard.
There you go.
Get to everybody. The biggest thing, we'll talk about Coach because he plays a factor on this show. Terry Reynolds would just continue to be a backstage interviewer, but then left the company because she felt like she was being disrespected by the talent, which doesn't surprise me.
No shit. I don't know. Probably 2002 in London might have something to do with that shit. I don't know. Just a hunch.
Charles Robinson, I think we talked about in one of the retros. Nick Patrick, we talked about in one of the retros. Chad Patton, one of the retros. Earl Hebner would continue to be a referee in WWE until he wasn't, and then he was a referee in Impact until he wasn't, and then he was a referee in AEW.
Wait, you want to know why he's not a referee in WWE? Okay, so we got to tell this story.
Because he and his bro...
decided to sell bootleg and WWE official merchandise unbeknownst to the company behind the
cargo van
fucking cargo
in
van.
I believe their local community.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. How did you hear about this?
Mike has told this story to us 100,000 times, and every time I hear it, it never gets any funnier.
So that makes
it always gets funnier every time. It's
so that makes sense.
based. Like, how are you gonna get a paycheck from the fucking company and then just we're gonna make more money behind the back? That's great.
And I think the only one they haven't talked about is Mike Sparks, but I don't think he's a well-known referee because you can't click on his name or anything to see where he is. So he might just be chilling at home right now and chilling.
Mike Sparks is watching Spark right
Yeah,
now, which you can catch on this very channel. Maybe he'll be a guest. He'll be a guest on an upcoming AEW Spark.
Can you imagine?
In about 2030.
Getting Mike Sparks on AEW Spark?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Going through the show, we had the opening ceremony / video package where Lillian Garcia performed the not national anthem. It's not.
It's America the Beautiful, she sang, right?
Yeah, but it's never they say it's the national anthem, but we know it's not.
Yeah,
so.
it's not. But my God, man, how did Lillian Garcia not become a big time pop star after all the renditions she's ever done for this company? Like, she should have had way fucking more after the I think I said this the last episode in 2012. Should have way more in post 9/11 SmackDown when she uttered the national anthem this time for sure. Like, I mean, she should. And when she hits that note with "Our flag was still there," it still fucking sends chills down my spine every time.
To this day,
she should have gotten everything and then some. I don't know how she didn't.
We've talked about where Lillian Garcia is in the 2012 review. And then it had the opening video package. I like the video package, but apparently Casey, why don't you talk? Because there's some new knowledge about the video package that you've just brought to our attention.
So on Peacock, they cut out like half of that speech. Yeah. It was a good eulogy by an Irish Catholic preacher. I believe the full text is bear witness and grieve the end of civility, because tonight wars will be waged on the most brutal of battlegrounds. Damn it, I forget the rest of it, but the part where they cut off is, ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. And that's where it stops on the Peacock version. The rest of the speech from the original DVD is, for the men whose virtues have taken a back seat to greed, for the men whose lack of morality sinks endlessly into the abyss, for the men who put their own bodies inside a device fashioned by sadists, built by rogues, and designed by the devil himself. The Elimination Chamber, obviously.
Yeah. I don't understand why they.
Damn good.
Damn, I gotta go find that then, because I didn't realize they cut it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rest of it says, so bow your heads and prepare to mourn the loss of honor, the loss of sanity, and the death of humanity.
Yeah.
And this is probably my favorite line here. And make no mistake, war will never decide who is right, only who is left.
Oh, that's a bad omen for the Elimination Chamber later.
Let's wait for that.
Shit.
Yeah. So yeah, going through. I did like the video package from what I could see of it, though. But I'm gonna, probably when I see you guys now, I'm gonna be looking for this, like, the full video package now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So then we had the opening match. It was for the World Tag Team Championships. It was La Resistance being represented by Savon Grenier and Rene Dupree defending the belts against the Dudley Boys. In this case, was Bubba Ray Devon and Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley. That was
easy for you to say.
I know. Apparently, I say that because this was at the time where sometimes Spike Dudley, it would be Spike Dudley and Bubba Ray Dudley.
And mild spoiler alert, he would show up after the match.
Yeah. So going through the history, the Dudleys and La Resistance were feuding over the tag team championships. This was basically the Un-Americans all over again, except that La Resistance was the Un-American group that were representing France.
France proper as opposed to just Canada.
Yeah. So they would come out with the flag and everything. They tore up the flag on Raw, which is kind of cool because when they try to do that in 2014 and stuff, it gets like backlash when they do that nowadays. So, and I can't believe this would never happen.
No. If you do it to other countries' flags, you get backlash for it. But if you do it to America, it's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, this is
priorities here.
Yeah, but by the way, this is something that wouldn't happen today. So there was an occasion going to the build-up of the show.
There were two of them.
Yeah, where I'm saying the build-up because obviously it happens later on in this match. There was an occasion where La Resistance were taunting like an American soldier, and the Dudley Boys came out and defended him. And we found out that this guy wasn't even an American soldier. He was just dressed up in disguise, and he was working with La Resistance, who we would find out later would be Robert Conway. You would not see that happen today, where you would just see someone pretending to be an American soldier. No way that would happen today.
No. You know,
but it's awesome.
You know what's funny? We talked about on a 2002 review about, you know, the Un-Americans where they were a bunch of freaking Canadians. Man, I wish they'd last longer so that way you could have also introduced
had like
La Resistance as well. That would have been a great addition to the Un-Americans, honestly.
They could have been like a subgroup, like how
seriously,
Bullet Club
yeah, and it all could have been led by Regal. That thing could have been a fucking super group.
Yeah.
To you know, but Lance
Storm
was boring apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we could fantasy book.
Yeah. Going over the match, the Dudleys, before the match even starts attacking La Resistance. They throw him into the barricades, throw him into the actual ring apron.
Yeah, let's talk about just the obvious elephant in the room. Bubba Ray hated working with these fuckers. It's been well documented at this point, especially Renee. He was taking liberties here.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It was fucking stiff as hell every time he would get in the ring with him. It was so obvious that these two did not get on.
But the Dudley Boys just dominated the match in the early goings. Eventually, the heels cheated to get the advantage. They got the heat for not that long, admittedly, on Bubba Ray Dudley, but long enough where like he struggled to get a tag. Then eventually Devon Dudley got the hot tag. He started going off on everybody. They did the "What's Up" headbutt, which it's weird because they cut it from Peacock every time when Devon does it, but they're fine when Bubba Ray. They show Bubba Ray doing it. It's really weird how that happens. I don't know if Devon just does something differently than Bubba Ray Dudley does, but whatever.
They deem it racist, I bet, because Peacock are sensitive assholes.
But La Resistance get one desperation double one Yoranagi's onto Devon, but he kicks out, which was a nice little kneel fall right there. Then eventually the Dudleys go for they hit the 3D onto I believe Rene Dupree, but then
one of the cameramen slides in the ring and knocks the Dudleys out with an icon.
Yeah, and the heels get the victory and retain the world.
Which by the way, spoiler alert. Guess who?
It's Rob Conway.
Yep. The La Resistance retain the belts, and
the crowd was really into this, by the way.
Yeah. Afterwards, Spike. They continued to beat down the Dudleys. Then Spike Dudley came out, and he was outnumbered. They hit him with the camera, and La Resistance left. Afterwards, Jonathan Coachman interviewed the Dudley Boys, the whole trio. And this was kind of a tease because he was kind of favoring the heels here, which was a tease for what was going to happen later in the show. But the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray Dudley said, they ain't mad about how they won, because this is the WWE. You got to win by any means necessary. Yep. But hell is gonna
there will be for them. Hell. There will be hell to pay.
Yep. And that was pretty much the match. I thought this was a good tag match here. I give it like 3 stars. I thought it did the job it needed to do, and I really liked the swerve at the end where they had Robert Conway disguised as the cameraman and interfere in the match. It continues the feud and everything. What about you, Casey? What do you think of this?
I agree with that. Solid 3 stars.
Yeah, it's decent opener. I personally, match-wise, probably would have went with the Cruiserweight match, but obviously the crowd thought different. They were way more into this match. I mean, if you were to put Ultimo Dragon in place of Shannon Moore,
then you would absolutely
this would have been bumped to heat,
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, the crowd may have been into it, but this would have been bumped to heat instantly.
Yeah. As for what happens from here, they would go on a feud up until like Unforgiven 2003. I believe they had like a 2-on-3 tables match where the Dudleys would win the tag team titles there, and then the Dudleys would hold the tag team championships for a while.
Their 17th run with the titles,
and then they would they would have like another couple years left in the WWE where they would win tag team titles here and there. Then eventually they
got split into the draft lottery, which by the way. The number 1 draft pick in the 2004 draft lottery was fucking Rene Dupree, who they then jabronied on that episode of Raw.
Yeah. Continuing with the continuing with the Dudleys. The Dudleys then left WWE in 2005. They would go on to have a long run in TNA, winning the TNA, NWA, and IWGP / New Japan World Tag Team Championships there. Just really up in their tag team title history.
Pretty much the only titles I think they haven't won in some capacity are
AEW and ROH, probably.
Well, there's AEW, ROH. Like, if we're talking the nowadays companies, AEW, Ring of Honor, and NWA, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I think, although I could be wrong there, they may have also won those.
I'm pretty sure they held, like...
No, yeah, they did, because they came in when it was still NWA TNA, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And
that was that would have been their 18th run on top.
Yeah.
And then I believe they would go on from there to become only the second set of Americans in the prior 10 to 15 years to win the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles.
Yep. And then they split up in 2010 officially. I know they split up like once before that in TNA, but it didn't really work out. But then they officially split up in 2010, and they went on singles careers where, admittedly, unfortunately, and Bubba Ray Dudley became Bully Ray and did really well for himself. He was the leader of the Aces and Eights and won the TNA World Championship.
Then later joined back up with, by the way.
Yep. And then they had one final run in TNA. They didn't win the tag titles or anything, but one final one as a team when they went into the TNA Hall of Fame. And then they left TNA. Bully Ray came back for like a minute and then was gone.
And then the Dudleys came back and then lost to New Day and then kept jobbing out.
Yeah, kind of had like a
we're done.
Underwhelming. Yeah, they kind of had like an underwhelming run in WWE, admittedly. And then
then Devon became a producer, and Bully Ray would go on to win one more tag team title with the Ring of Honor 6-man tag title
with the Briscoes.
Yep.
And then he became the head booker of ROH, but I think it was too little, too late for ROH, so they couldn't. He hasn't been with ROH in a while, and he hosts his Busted Open Radio where he pisses people off nowadays, where he says that Jon Moxley needs to apologize, which kind of set like a fire to everybody.
We don't need to go back into that. That was a really dumb take. Sorry, Bully.
And then
that was really stupid.
The most recent thing he's done is he was in the Bunkhouse Battle Royal at Ric Flair's last match where he
put over Vance Warner.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Gives me a reason to check that out now.
As for La Resistance, they would stay together until 2004.
You know what, Casey? Don't. Trust me. I'll tell you off air why.
Okay. Let me continue. Lowry's Resistance would stay together in various iterations until 2004 officially, and then when A3 got drafted to SmackDown, he contended for the U.S. title on occasions and won the tag titles with Kenzo Suzuki, which was always really random and like a forgotten about.
They made it work, and they should have gotten way more, both of them.
And then he just floundered for a bit. He would get drafted, but never really show up all that much. He went to ECW, and he just really didn't do much. He went back down at OVW, where he reformed Lowry's Resistance with, I believe, Robert Conway. Sounds about right. And then eventually he left WWE in 2007, and he's just been wrestling the Indies. Really, he had like one stint in TNA. And then he's just wrestled the Indies, which is kind of crazy to think about. I think it was either him or some other guy did like some type of joint show with like where TNA/Impact Wrestling did a joint show with an indie promotion. And I'm pretty sure it was that show that like had terrible quality that Don Callis didn't care about to commentate. I'm pretty sure that was the show he was on.
Same show. And you forget Rene Dupree is actually a Pro Wrestling Noah guy now and runs a podcast called Cafe de Rene, where he's had Paul London be interviewed. And then that interview shed some light on recent allegations that a certain McMahon has been accused of, which involve Ashley Massaro.
Yep. So as
middle finger to you again, you piece of shit, for that one.
As for Savon Grenier. Pretty much
not to London, by the way, to,
yeah,
man, that guy.
As for Savon Grenier, when Lowry's Resistance disbanded, he just really didn't do all that much in WWE. He was basically jobbed out, and then he went down to OVW also, but then just was released. He did a stint in TNA, and he still does the Indies, and I'm pretty sure he's a backstage producer now in WWE. It's either him or Rob Conway. I remember it's one of the two.
There is one run you're forgetting about, Mr. Conway. Look at me.
I was getting to him. That was Savon Grenier I was talking about right there.
Yeah, there you go.
So as for Rob Conway, he wanted people to look at him apparently. So
there we go. Hold on. Just everybody all together. Just look at me.
Did I ever tell you too? I never knew about that until John Tuddy told me about it too.
Oh my god! I wish they did more with that. That was actually so good. And they hate the French guys, man? He made that work day one, and they did nothing with it.
There's actually a thing. If you go into that theme song, someone's posting in the comments they want the number 30th entrant someday at the Royal Rumble to be him.
Fuck yeah! Oh my god!
I'd be down.
I especially would be down just to watch the internet fucking explode in sheer confusion.
I think the internet would explode if that happened more than when Roman Reigns was the 30th entrant in the 2017 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that would get a shit ton of buzz. Like, people would be like, "Why is the number 30?" Here's the contingency on social media if that happens. Why the fuck is Rob Conway coming out in the Royal Rumble? And the other half is, just look at me.
But yeah,
and there ain't a whole lot of in between there.
No, not at all. But it would get a hell of a lot of attention.
Let's continue with the show. We don't even need to say what else Rob Conway is. That just says it all.
Yeah. He might be a producer. We don't know. Everybody looks at him backstage, apparently.
Yeah. Before the next match, actually, Eric Bischoff is backstage. He's getting ready for his match
and Christian comes along.
Yep, he's getting ready for his match with Shane McMahon, which we'll talk about later.
Dude, why does Christian always have the wildest fits?
I know.
Even here, like, nothing has changed in, over fucking
almost 20 years?
In almost 20 years?
Yeah, so Eric Bischoff is getting ready for his match with Shane McMahon, and Christian comes up, and he wants to know why he doesn't have a match for SummerSlam since he's the Intercontinental Champion. I actually agree with him. I'm like, yeah, you're right, buddy. Like, you should have a match with him. Now, we do find, I did do some research, and apparently he was supposed to have a match with Booker T for the belt, but Booker T was hurt, so they had to scrap the match. But I don't know why they couldn't find another opponent for Christian to face for the belt, or whatever. Especially with what, we got. Yeah.
Wasn't he teaming with Booker around this time, or about to?
Yeah, especially too with what the match, you know, that I think replaced it. But anyhow, Eric Bischoff, you know, said that it was a Stone Cold Steve Austin call to try to get himself out of it, and then Christian, you know, asked him what he's gonna do to Shane McMahon or something like that, or wants to get some pointers, and Eric Bischoff is just like, I just need to get ready. Yeah, I gotta focus, and then he wants the 4-1-1.
He wants the deets. He wants the deets on what happened with Linda.
Which we'll talk about there. And you know,
and that classic smug asshole grin, which I love so much.
Then we had the next match. It was continuing Undertaker's like Undertaker. I think to a lot of people is considered Mr. WrestleMania. I wouldn't consider him Mr. SummerSlam because he does not get the best opponents. Not that there's anything bad with A-Train, but it's like, damn, like Undertaker just got nothing at SummerSlam.
Why is he still feuding with A-Train? Is the first thing I fucking thought of.
Yeah,
like, but it's Undertaker. Why is this guy still embroiled in this never-ending nowhere feud with fucking Albert?
But Undertaker wrestled A-Train. The history behind this match was A-Train
was Mr. McMahon's hired gun, pretty much.
Yeah,
and thinking forward a little bit, this might have been a precursor to what happened at Survivor Series between Vince and Taker.
You're correct. Yeah, because A-Train was a Vince hired gun. He cost Stephanie McMahon a match against Sable.
Put her on the shelf for a bit.
Yeah. He cost Undertaker matches with John Cena in the Big Show, and he injured his rib. Well, I should say injured his ribs. He injured his ribs more in this going into this match. And the Undertaker had injured ribs. I always think it's kind of weird when you try to do a rib injury angle with the Undertaker because it's like a visible thing. You couldn't even tell his ribs were taped up because of the attire that he wears in this match. So it's kind of weird when you do a rib.
Once he took, you could kind of see it right at the bottom part of his straps here.
Yeah.
But, don't forget as well. Like they had a match at WrestleMania with while he was teaming with the fucking Big Show at one point as well.
Yeah.
Which involved Nathan Jones.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, despite what people want to say, that was a handicap match. Nope. Nathan Jones was in the ring. Referee never DQ'd him. Therefore, he was in the match. Yeah. He just was never legally tagged in.
So, yeah, the match starts. Undertaker's being very cautious in the beginning because of the taped ribs. He's not being as aggressive as normal. But eventually, he starts dominating A-Train. But eventually, A-Train throws him into the barricade and just really targets the ribs of the Undertaker. Undertaker would get like a few licks in, but because of the injured ribs.
And by the way, Sable's at ringside.
Yeah, Sable's at ringside. The Undertaker would get a few licks in, but because of the injured ribs, he could never fully capitalize. He actually does hit the snake eyes on A-Train, which was impressive, but it took a lot out of him. A-Train immediately followed it up with a wicked clothesline. And then Undertaker mounted a full-on comeback.
I think there was a ref bump around this time.
Yeah, he went for the choke slam. A-Train countered it. Then he went for a big boot. A-Train ducked and he inadvertently hit the referee. A-Train hit the derailleur, and Undertaker. He had the match won, but the referee was too slow to get to the count because he was down from he had just taken the bump.
Yeah, so he took a foot in the face.
Yeah, so it allowed Undertaker to kick out. Then the referee took another bump. So A-Train went for he had a bicycle kick on the Undertaker. Then he went for a steel chair, and he went to hit the Undertaker. Undertaker countered with a big boot. He hit choke slam. A-Train lost. Undertaker won, which was kind of cool that he won with a choke slam. He never really wins with a choke slam.
Yeah, that rarely happens.
And then afterwards, Undertaker went to lay out A-Train with the last ride, but Sable tried to seduce the Undertaker. Undertaker
played along with it for a little bit, but eventually got Sable goozled. We think he's gonna choke slam her, but then he just turns and looks at the entrance ramp.
Yeah, then Stephanie McMahon comes out and she attacks Sable, and she sends her packing, and that was about it for that. decent match here. I gave it like 2 3/4. I think they did like one too many ref bumps. I would have just done the one ref bump with
and done with it.
Yeah, it was overbooked a little bit. To be
fair. That's a little bit overbooked.
I think
not horrifically so, but a little bit.
This is the second Big Four pay-per-view of this year, minus the Rumble where they fucking fought. Keep in mind as well, because you got WrestleMania, they fought a few months prior, and now they're fighting here again. It's like, what the hell, dude?
I don't understand why they
couldn't have picked anybody else. Why didn't you just make Nathan Jones like he turned on Taker or something? Like,
yeah,
I think Nathan Jones was actually out of the company by this time.
No, he wasn't.
He was in developmental apparently.
Yeah,
as if that stopped Vince before from pushing fucking steroid up freaks.
I know.
Come on.
As for where
looking at you, Brock.
Yeah, like as for where everything ended, as for where everybody ended up. We've talked about The Undertaker before, but the biggest thing I'll say is, this was the precursor to the Vince McMahon feud when, him and Vince would feud at Survivor Series and, would kill off the American Badass gimmick until, 2020, pretty much. And then, as for A-Train, this was basically, his last hurrah in WWE. He really didn't do all that much after this match. He basically got drafted to Raw in 2004 and was out of the company afterwards. Then he went on to have a really good run in Japan. Specifically.
Oh, by the way, let's talk about what happened to A-Train. Actually, got drafted to Raw, got injured with a torn rotator cuff, was released that following month.
Yep, and then
nice.
Yeah, he went on to have a really good. The biggest thing he did in Japan was having that really good tag team one with Carl Anderson.
Not only just Carl Anderson, he then would have an even better run. As this is his precursor to his Tenzai gimmick when he started to get all marked up and had a crazy dominant run with Vader as IWGP Heavyweight Tag Champions. Like that underrated fucking run. If you are a historian of New Japan, definitely go check that out because those matches are fucking stiff as hell with those two.
And then they tried to rekindle that same thing in WWE, but it really didn't work because
they called him fucking Lord Tenzai and tried to pretend it was a different gimmick.
Yeah, but
when they could have just said he was fucking Prince Albert, which probably would have went a Lord Albert.
Yeah.
Fuck, anything would have been better than Tenzai, and then they tried to make a different gimmick.
And then Tons of Funk happened.
Oh,
yeah.
God,
and then when Tons of Funk disbanded, he transitioned into a commentary role in NXT. And then when Bill DeMott got fired for rightful reasons as a head coach, he's the head coach of NXT, and he's been the head coach ever since. So, of the performance center, anyways.
So props to Matt Bloom for holding that position for a while.
Yeah. As for Sable, she would leave the company in 2004 and not be heard from in a wrestling capacity since. So the only thing we know is that she's married to Brock Lesnar. And as for Stephanie McMahon, I'm pretty sure we've talked about Stephanie McMahon before. I'm pretty sure we have.
She and her husband are now basically controlling the company.
Yeah. So any additional thoughts, by the way, you guys have about the Undertaker A-Train match?
I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's the faster we're away from this, the better. To be fair, because I'm sick of seeing these two.
Because then we can get to one of the more fun matches of the night.
First, we have Jonathan.
First there's Jonathan Coachman interviewing two fans, Leah and Gary, at ringside about who they think is going to win the Elimination Chamber. Both say Goldberg, and he just says, Goldberg obviously for you as well. There's so much speculation, and probably another hint to what he's about to do. But,
yeah. Also, it's kind of a hint of what happens at the main event, sort of. So then we have the next match. It was Shane McMahon versus Eric Bischoff. This is probably going to be where our opinions differ a little bit because it would probably depend on how much you like this match. So, the feud going into this, it's really weird how it happens, but it happened. Shane McMahon had returned because he was out for Kane for taking out his mother, Linda McMahon, via tombstone pile driver, which we'll talk about that later in the show. So he wanted to go after Kane, but, Eric Bischoff wouldn't allow it. So instead, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the co-general manager of Raw at the time, wanted, Shane McMahon and Eric Bischoff to have a no-holds-barred match. And in that match, Kane interfered, and it helped Eric Bischoff win. And then Eric Bischoff was going to get sued by JR for setting up that interview with him and Kane, but JR only agreed to
not sue if Eric Bischoff would sign a contract to face who Eric thought was going to be Shane McMahon.
But instead it ended up being Kane, and Kane lost by count out on purpose, which we'll get into why later in the show. And because Eric Bischoff won, it got him a match with Shane McMahon on the show. And
here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And also we have that infamous segment where Eric Bischoff goes to Linda McMahon's / the McMahon's house and basically sexually assaults her, pretty much. The biggest thing that I like that they... yeah.
Like, there's no need for that. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Why do the fucking McMahons do the weirdest shit? And by the way, Linda's included in this fucking camp too, because the stories that have come out lately that have resurfaced, apparently they did the same with fucking Tori. Like when Tori and Vince were getting fucking intimate on camera, Linda literally was like saying, "Do it hard." Like it's fucking weird. You fuckers are weird. Stop it. You're weird.
The biggest thing I like, but what sucks about it is it's brought up like once that they brought up out of this feud was the fact that Shane McMahon bought WCW from Eric Bischoff underneath him. That should have been the storyline anyways. I don't know why that wasn't.
Should have been the fucking basis of why he's putting him in a match with Kane.
Yeah. As for the match, like I said, I think it depends on how much you like it. For some reason, this match wasn't no DQ or anything. It was just a regular wrestling match in the beginning. That was stupid.
We'll get to. We'll get through it. Hang on.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't know why it wasn't announced right away. Eric Bischoff comes out and he talks about his experience with Linda McMahon. Gives us the deets, and he says a line that's not very good to hear nowadays. And I'm going to say it real quick. He says he doesn't understand why Vince McMahon is going out for cheeseburgers when he's got some nice filet mignon at home. Not a good line to hear nowadays. Not a good line.
What the fuck? Why? Wait. That's a double meaning, because that means he likes older women.
Yeah.
Sold out makes sense now.
But I'm just saying, it's not a good line to hear nowadays with all the allegations that's come out about Vince McMahon.
No, not at all. But at all, yeah, for sure. But I'm like thinking, I'm thinking in my head, it's like, wait, so they just openly had Eric Bischoff admit, he's a granny lover, pretty much.
The thing that doesn't make any sense.
They're basically saying there's a reason Sold Out 1997 happened. Why they had all those weird women instead of just actually like supermodel-looking women.
To be fair, that wasn't what the first thing I thought of was the Vince McMahon allegations thing, because obviously that's where my brain went to.
My brain went that way. Because I'm like, oh.
What was also weird about this is because it wasn't believable that Vince wouldn't be pissed at Eric that he just went after his wife and everything like that. Because Vince was also a heel on Smack. I get Vince was a heel on SmackDown, but it's just
Vince didn't care.
Not very good.
Was fucking Sable, dude.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
In kayfabe, anyway, or probably in real life too. Who we fucking kidding?
Yeah.
I mean,
now that we know, But Eric Bischoff continues to taunt about this, and then eventually Shane McMahon comes out.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Vinnie Mac, did you pay the hush money before or after? You fucksake.
Yeah. And then Shane McMahon just immediately goes at Eric Bischoff, hitting those terrible punches onto him. Just terrible. I think this is the worst of the punches I think have ever been, because he's obviously doing it to a guy.
They were rough.
Yeah.
They were a bit rough.
He attacks him on the stage, throws him into the barricade, and they just blow it ringside. Shane has to occasionally go into the ring to break up the pinfall because of countouts, because for some reason they decided to make this a regular match, which, like I said, we'll get to it. So Shane just dominated Eric Bischoff. Then eventually, you see some unknown person just hit Shane McMahon in the back with a chair. And this is kind of bad camera. This is kind of bad camera work because it was kind of ruined because you could kind of see the person creep up on Shane McMahon before you even got hit with the chair. But whatever. And we found out that it was Jonathan Coachman, who turned heel on this night. And the referee's about to call for a DQ, and Eric Bischoff goes, "No, there's
gonna be no bell."
Yeah, this is gonna now be a falls count anywhere match, pretty much.
No DQ.
Count,
no DQ. Falls count anywhere.
Which, why wasn't it that way in the beginning? Because it's WWE, does things that don't make sense. Then he throws Shane into the steps, goes for a cover, lackadaisical cover, but he kicks out, and for a while they're just dominating Shane McMahon, and then eventually Eric Bischoff, not that the match is already bad enough as it is, then decides, you know what?
Knock JR and King off.
Yeah, but the match isn't bad enough as it is. They're just going to make it worse by having no commentary.
Because he was feuding with JR at this time too. Fuck me. Raw. Okay, you want to know why people didn't fucking tune in and fucking 100,000 people decided not to buy this SummerSlam as opposed to the year prior? Because Raw was an absolutely insufferable fucking pile of shit with little tidbits like this.
Yeah.
Fucking cutting off commentary. Eric Bischoff all over the show. Triple H burying everybody. It's fucking unbearable. Unbearable. Yeah. Even if you want to say Evolution was a fucking highlight. And don't get me wrong, to a degree it was, but who the fuck were they associated with? The dude who was burying every fucking talent. It was fucking painstaking. Then you got this fucking Shane McMahon Kane thing, which completely derailed Kane. Even though the matches were good, don't fucking matter. It's Shane McMahon taking it to Kane.
Yeah.
This is the same fucking dude who barely was able to fucking take on Kurt Angle. This is the same dude that was barely able to beat Steve Blackman a few years prior.
But yeah, continuing with the match, though, I'll continuing my breakdown. Not only did we not get commentary, we got Jonathan Coachman just mocking commentary, too. Because Coach is already bad enough on commentary when he's not even being a heel. Now it's like 10 times worse.
God,
horrible. Then Shane McMahon mounts a small comeback. He lays out Eric Bischoff with a DDT, but then he gets low blow by Jonathan Coachman. Then
the glass.
Which I really don't think the glass was necessary. It wasn't like Shane was really struggling all that much, but whatever.
No,
Stone Cold.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is Stone Cold coming out?
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out. He gets in the ring, and Coach mocks him because he can't physically put his hands on him unless he's provoked, because he'll be fired as the GM, which is also stupid. Because why would Stone Cold even care about that?
It's fucking Stone Cold.
Yeah. So then Shane McMahon pushes Jonathan Coachman into Stone Cold. So the Stone Cold beats the crap out of him, and Coach is selling him was terrible here. He gets thrown out of the ring, which was a struggle to get him out of the ring. And then Shane McMahon, then Stone Cold asked for the commentary to be put back on, so the match is saved a little bit. And then Shane McMahon holds up Eric Bischoff, and Eric Bischoff slaps Stone Cold in the face. What a terrible heel decision that was. You're legit being held by a babyface, and you decide to slap Stone Cold. This is not something Eric Bischoff would do in real life, or if he was in WCW. So then he stuns.
Which is kind of why you see Shane's hand giving him a little bit of a help.
No, this was definitely no help. This was definitely a full-on Eric Bischoff here. Stone Cold stuns Eric Bischoff. Shane covers him, but he's not done punishing Eric Bischoff. The match isn't bad enough as it is. Shane McMahon then puts Eric Bischoff. It takes him a long ass time to do this on the Spanish announce table, and just does the not coast to coast. It was just an elbow drop through the table, and wins. And somehow Eric Bischoff got busted open. I don't really care how, he just did.
Why did you gig?
Yeah.
Why did you gig? You know what's fucking bad? When you take a elbow drop to the heart through the fucking table, and Bischoff gigs like he got fucking hit in the head.
Yeah, I know.
That's when you know you have an overbooked fucking clusterfuck.
This match, as you could tell, was terrible. It was awful. It's saved somewhat by Stone Cold Steve Austin, but really, there's even problems when Stone Cold gets out there.
Yeah.
This is where our opinions probably differ, Casey. This is a 1-star match. This is awful. This is like the worst SummerSlam match I think I might have ever seen. And like the only match that tops it probably is like Undertaker versus Kamala. But at least those were like
2012. Any of the matches following the World Heavyweight Title match would like to speak to you.
Yeah, that's true. Sheamus versus Del Rio was pretty. Like this match.
How about that tag title match? That was pretty.
Oh yeah,
that was a lot worse.
This match was terrible though. Awful match. The feud going into it made no sense, and everybody here did not play their characters well. Decided to shut the commentary off and have to listen to Coach do commentary, which is already bad, but he's not being a heel anyway. Just a terrible match. And honestly, like, it was making me question why Casey picked this show until the next match happens.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Casey.
We can all agree that this is not good, but for me, it's in the territory of so bad it's hilarious.
That's fine. You know that some people enjoy.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. As for where everybody went, you want to know why?
Hold on, wait. I'm gonna give my rating for this. You gave it 1 star. I don't know what Casey gives it. What the fuck do you give it?
Specifically for being so bad it's funny, I give it 2.5.
Okay. I gave it a -1.
It's so.
Dude, I hated this. It just reminded me of why I chose SmackDown over Raw every fucking week. This is why. It's shit like this why.
It gets worse because you know what this feud led to? It led to Jonathan Coachman and Al Snow versus Joey the Kid Wall and Jim Ross. Oh, so bad. And then it did lead to that classic Survivor Series match with Team Austin versus Team Bischoff. So I guess it was kind of like, again, a
little bit of a silver lining.
Why did Stone Cold Steve Austin care that he was going to get fired as GM of Raw? It didn't make sense.
Who gave a single? It's Stone Cold.
Yeah,
he's been threatened before with legality, and he never gave a shit in the Attitude Era. Why is he all of a sudden caring now?
Yeah. As for where everybody went, we've talked about Eric Bischoff in SummerSlam 2002. Shane McMahon. I think we've talked about before, haven't we? I'm pretty sure we have.
Yeah, we have. Well, last we saw of him, he tried to fuck. He just had enough. Was not in the right headspace. Went over way too many fucking guys on the Rumble and was tossed. And his father pissed him off apparently backstage to the point where he was like, fuck you. I'm gonna go over.
We might see him back. We could see him back now that there's been a change in power. I doubt it, but see. Jonathan Coachman would be a terrible heel on Raw every week, and then he became the GM of Raw somehow. I don't even remember how. And then he was
the interim general manager, as if that fucking meant anything.
Yeah, then he was because I'm pretty sure Vince was in charge still, anyways. Like in terms of on screen.
So it made sense.
So then he did commentary on SmackDown, which was terrible. Then he went on to be on ESPN, and he would have an occasional guest from the WWE over there. Then he went back to Raw, commentated Raw, which was terrible.
I don't think I've ever heard. I still remember when he came back, and I don't think I've ever heard Michael Cole as pissed off as he was at Coach.
Yeah.
You know what's sad about Coach though? Like, Coach Yeah, he's a terrible commentator. I think we can all agree with that. But, like, all intents and purposes, I feel a lot of people are still, like, a bit hard on him, including Colt. Because, like, the dude's, for all accounts, is, like, a really nice guy. It's really a shame that, like, he gets treated the way he did.
Yeah, I think he's like really good at like doing the interviews and stuff when he's just being himself.
He's good at, he's also good at doing other sports that isn't wrestling. By the way, I've heard him commentate other shit. Like the little I did hear of that abysmal fucking Keemstar fucking, or I'm sorry, I don't know, Austin McBroom fight fucking production, where he had to carry Keemstar and Floozy Tube.
There you go.
He was like the fucking shiny beacon there. I mean, he knew what the fuck was going on in every fight. He knew the preparation the guys were like. He was really good there. Like,
yeah.
I know that's not saying much, considering the other two were fucking Fousey Tube and Keemstar, and they were pretending like they knew about boxing, but still, it's you know, he's better at the sports than he is in wrestling. Put it that way.
And then he went on to host the panel when Aeon took over commentary for him, and he's not really there now. Now he's back at like he does NBS.
I think he does PGA Tour, believe it or not.
Yeah,
or he does some thing of golf.
I don't even know when he left because I think he left quietly in like 2018.
I would too. To be fair, I would too. He was probably getting screened at every.
He was also the pregame host for the incarnation of the XFL when that was around for a little bit. So there you go.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, he did really good there too for the first couple weeks. Yeah.
Well, I don't watch football, so I wouldn't.
You know what? It's. I will say that, not that I like giving this fucking guy credit, but I will if it actually deserves. That time around, XFL should have succeeded if the fucking pandemic didn't hit.
Yeah.
It actually could have fucking succeeded. It was really good production. The fucking game made sense. It wasn't fucking overbooked. It wasn't WWE, trying to be football. It was literally just football. It actually was decent television.
Well, then you know what?
Yeah, 2020 killed it off. It kind of sucks because like, fuck Vince. I don't give a fuck about Vince. I give a fuck about anybody else that actually put an effort that wasn't Vince. Really, like they should have got it. Really should have gotten off the ground. Fuck the pandemic for that.
I know. Then continuing with the show, Evolution was backstage. And Ric Flair was making sure that Randy Orton knew what his marching orders go into the Elimination Chamber match. So he was to ensure that Triple H walked out as champion. But they kind of did.
What?
Yeah. But they kind of teased it like as if Randy Orton's going to stab him in the back. They never really do anything with this, but it's kind of nice to have this storytelling element in the chamber matches because
especially given what would happen 2 years later between Orton and Hunter.
Yeah.
Well, except I would agree with that. Except I don't think they even bring it up once during their actual feud.
I believe you're right.
Not once did they bring up 2003.
So the next match, from probably these next three matches is when SummerSlam 03 I started to understand why Casey picked this show. The next match is a Fatal 4-Way match for the United States Championship. It's Eddie Guerrero.
With plenty of international flair.
Yep. It's Eddie Guerrero defended against Chris Benoit, Tajiri, and Rhino. So this was
so good.
So this was the first match since we introduced the United States Championship to the WWE.
Which, by the way, was after a fucking amazing banger again between Benoit and Eddie.
Yeah.
At the previous pay-per-view.
SmackDown 6, hard at work, man.
Yep. So Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit went at it to decide who was going to be the first champion since the title had been reactivated. And Eddie Guerrero won via interference from Rhino, who turned on Chris Benoit. And, everybody in this match had a reason to be in it because Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, had that match for the U.S. Championship. Rhino turned on...
Yep.
Eddie
Eddie decided, you know what? I may as well just make a clean job of it, and then went and clocked Tajiri in the head with the belt.
who are also former tag team champions at this time too, because they were a tag team for like a little bit.
Yeah, Eddie and Tajiri were like an underrated like fucking comedy duo. I think this was right before Tajiri turned heel and went with Akito and Sakoto, I think were their names. Like you know what's funny? Why did you get split Tajiri and then not have Kenzo have them?
I know.
That made no sense to me.
But anyhow, going through the match, what a great U.S. title match this was.
They explained it fucking awesome. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, Rhino, the dichotomy in this was great because you had an ECW alum that really did great in Tajiri.
I think weren't all four of these guys in ECW?
Yeah. But it's crazy because you have obviously like the veterans that everybody's gonna know in Eddie and Benoit. You have your relative upstart in WWE's fans' eyes in Tajiri, right? And then you also have Rhino, who people have been used to being just this brick shithouse and fucking powerhouse, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, the way I saw it.
Holy hell, did this work so well to their benefit?
Yep. And all four of them had their working boots on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This was they explained this. This was the traditional Fatal 4-Way rules. Because I think this was at the time when WWE were doing 4-way matches, and there were like different rules where you had to like tag it out and stuff. No, this was a full-on 4-way match.
Yep.
So
standard Fatal 4-Way. First man to gain pinfall or submission within the ropes becomes the U.S. champion. No countouts, no years.
Yeah, what a match this was. Everybody was gunning for Eddie Guerrero because he clocked everyone with the U.S. title, like on that SmackDown before that. So Eddie Guerrero.
So he stayed the fuck out of the ring for the first 5 minutes and let everybody else fight it out.
Yeah. And Benoit and Tajiri went at it, and Rhino and Benoit went at it for a bit, and then Eddie Guerrero kind of came in and tried to get his licks in, and everyone just eventually just beat the crap out of Eddie Guerrero for a while. It was awesome. I mean, I really just can't explain this match. You really just need to sit down and watch this match.
You gotta watch this.
Like,
This is a damn good 4-way match.
This is the epitome of wrestling all at once. You have you have a hybrid powerhouse in Rhino that's fucking awesome. You have a fucking Japanese Renaissance strong style striker in Tajiri.
You have the Renaissance man of Eddie Guerrero who can do pretty much anything.
And you have Benoit, who's just the
technical wizard.
The technical, intense wizard that he is. Paul Heyman knew how to book shit, is the moral of the fucking story here.
I really just can't do this match. Please, if you have the time,
go watch this match. Yeah. This is a solid 4.5 match.
Yeah. Eventually, the finish is like really what makes this match. Rhino goes for a gore on Eddie Guerrero, and he does hit it, but Eddie Guerrero was holding the United States Championship, and he went into the championship.
Yeah.
So it hurt his shoulder.
Yeah,
which hold on, was infinitely better than a sledgehammer later on in the night. Continue.
Yep. So then after a few minutes, Eddie Guerrero took advantage of this when Benoit and Tajiri took each other out, and Eddie Guerrero hit the frog splash right across the back of Rhino and got the pin. Like, I know I'm not breaking down this match. Like,
there was also a great double submission spot with Eddie and Chris having. I forget who had who, but Eddie had was it the sharpshooter?
I think it was
like a version.
Eddie had the lasso from El Paso while Benoit had the crossface.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want to break down this match spot, but you guys just have to see this match for yourself.
You have got to watch this match.
Legitimately, it's so.
I give this like 4.25 stars. It was a great 4-way match. Like, it's honestly like I feel like this doesn't get. It's a shame that the Benoit tragedy struck because it doesn't get talked about anymore because of that. Like, I feel like this match would be like shown because WWE occasionally airs full matches on their YouTube channel. This match would get shown like 3 times. Like, it's so good. Like, if you put this match on today, it'd be great.
It would hold up like a motherfucker, dude. Like this, you could put this on any time period, and it would have been. It would have been revolutionary in the 80s. It would have been freaking right at home in the ECW, especially in the 90s. Probably in the Attitude Era in 2000. Put that shit on any indie nowadays, like, and especially in AEW. I mean, this
fits
would be
like a glove.
It's so good.
As for where everybody went, we've talked about Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit before. Rhino would not do all that much in WWE after this. He would just kind of be like a big powerhouse who would occasionally challenge for tag titles and stuff.
You know what is funny? I will say this. Eddie and Tajiri would actually have a small little program, I think, while Eddie was the WWE champion. And in the 2004 lottery draft that I mentioned earlier, thank you, Deadlock, by the way, Rhino would end up fighting Chris Benoit for the World Heavyweight title. While Eddie on that same show would fight Triple H for the WWE title. Which Eddie won by DQ, which is, I think, is bullshit, but still. I mean, hey.
But anyhow, Rhino would go on to leave. He would join up with TNA in 2005, and he would be there till he would be there for a while. He won the
NWA World title, right? While he was there?
I believe so, yeah.
Good for him.
Rhino then would leave TNA in like 2008, I believe.
Did he leave in 08?
I'm pretty sure he left in 08 and then came back in 09.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. So he left in 08, went to Ring of Honor, I think, for a stint, and then came back to TNA in what, like 2010 for EV 2.0?
Yeah, EV 2.0. Then he randomly went heel, and then he left TNA again in like 2011.
Wasn't that during? I think it was during his first mayoral run.
Yeah,
Detroit, right?
And then he came back to TNA for a bit in 2014, and part of that like ECW Dixie Carter feud.
That was fucking weird. That whole thing's weird. They had what was the fucking weird faction that they had? It was him. I think it was him, Snitsky, and Ezekiel Jackson.
Yeah.
Big Rick.
Yeah. And then he left TNA again in like 2014, I think right after that feud ended pretty much.
That was during his second mayoral run, which he actually ended up winning, and then then he went back to the WWE, had a really good run in NXT.
Yeah.
Him and Corbin actually won the Dusty Cup. They didn't win the tag titles.
No, they didn't. They made it to the finals.
That's right. Yeah, they got deseeded. Right.
And then
Balor beat him.
And then then he left again. He went back to NXT for like a minute in 2016, and then he went to SmackDown. I'm even forgetting like that small reunion that the Dudleys, Dreamer, and Rhino had when they feuded with the Wyatts. That
was an underrated fucking 4-way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was an underrated 4-on-4 tag match.
Right, yeah, and then that would have been Rhino, Dreamer,
and the Dudleys. Versus the entirety of the Wyatt family. Rowan Strowman, Brody Lee, and Bray Wyatt.
And then
he had to run with Heath Slater.
Yeah, on SmackDown, and then
which was actually admittedly pretty entertaining. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and then there's I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. There's that segment where on Raw where like he's just eating cheese and crackers, and like the Maurice knocks the cheese and crackers out of his hand, and the facial reaction he makes when that happens is so hilarious. You gotta watch it. It's like, and then
I can't even get a job now. I can't even have cheese and crackers. What the fuck's wrong with you?
And then him and Slater kind of floundered for a while as a tag team after WWE kind of lost interest in it. So he left WWE in 2018, 2019-ish. He went back to Impact.
Started with Pylon by Design.
And now that when Heath went there, he's now a tag team with Heath again. So
yeah,
you can pretty much say Rhino's been in like every company at like the hottest period
at its hottest point.
Yeah. So as for Tajiri, he would have a few more stints in WWE. He would have that cruiserweight.
You say Rhino was in there every company at its hottest point. I'd argue that with ECW. To be fair.
Okay. Fair enough. As for Tajiri, he would have the cruiserweight title one shortly after this. And then when that ended, He had a couple tag team stints that really didn't make sense, but some of them worked, some of them didn't.
What was the first one? The first one was him and Hurricane, right? Which made no sense.
Yeah, wasn't one of them with Regal too?
He and William Regal are still hilarious to this day.
Yeah, and then he left WWE in like 2006. So that way he could like spend more time with his family in Japan and be like a...
You know what's funny too? He did one more show in 2006 after he left for ECW One Night Stand as well.
Yeah, and then he wrestled in Japan, mainly New Japan, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and Wrestle One. He did it when he did a crossover episode, like TNA pay-per-view with Bound for Glory with TNA and Wrestle One.
That was so fucking terrible. By the way. Yeah. That was on TNA, too, because they were supposed to have a world title match, couldn't book it because they decided to change it via taping, and that pissed off Tajiri and all of Japan, pretty much, because the world champion there was going to be, who was it? Fuck.
Well, it would have been Bobby Lashley.
It would have been Bobby Lashley. I think they changed it to Bobby Roode. Right.
Yes.
A couple weeks before on TV tapings, which hadn't aired, and that pissed him off. So I mean, it was during a really, really bad year of TNA where they were just making boneheaded decision after boneheaded decision. It was the worst time period for
which,
TNA.
By the way, this is not to say that Bobby Roode didn't deserve to be TNA champion.
It's just the way they did it pissed off a lot of people.
And then. He showed up in the Cruiserweight Classic in 2016.
He did really good there, man. Like that Cruiserweight Classic's such an underrated tournament.
We have to do that as a retro, like somehow, some way.
At some point, we got to. Yeah, I
agree. 2014 or 2016?
2016.
Okay.
Definitely. I want if we're gonna do that, all four of us should do that, just so no one, in case they could give us like a bracketology kind of segue into that, because they do really good on the G1 stuff.
And then
let's be honest, James. Noah does most of the work there.
Yeah, but you're able to provide. Once he gives you the fucking insight, you do really well with him. Like you two do really well together.
And then he was going to be a part of the 205 Live Cruiserweight division, but because it was run by Vince at the time, he didn't want to use him because of his age.
Well, not even just that. I think he got injured, didn't he?
He did.
Week one in, poor fucking guy.
And then he went back to Japan, and now he's like wrestling in MLW. So there you go.
Yay! Good for him.
And then continuing, it showed the footage of Sunday Night Heat with Matt Hardy. We already talked about that.
Yep.
We had the WWE Championship match. It was Kurt Angle defending against Brock Lesnar.
Which, from my money, is match of the night.
It is match of the night.
Oh my god, so good.
The build-up here was this was a rematch from WrestleMania 19 when Brock beat Kurt for the belt and Kurt had to go out for his neck surgery. So he had to really fight to get back to the ring. He finally did. He won the WWE Championship in a triple threat match against Brock Lesnar and The Big Show. Doing this, before that triple threat match and everything, you saw like this backstage, they were building up this friendship between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, where they were just like the best of friends. The biggest segment I think I can mention is when a girl's hitting on them, and they're just joking around about who he's talking to. It's like the funniest thing. It's so funny.
Oh my god. I actually like this run so much.
So then Brock Lesnar wanted a rematch with Kurt Angle for that WWE Championship. Kurt Angle accepted.
Kurt Angle initially accepted, and then out comes the fucker.
Vince McMahon comes out and says, "You don't deserve a rematch, pal." And that's literally what he said, actually.
And Brock Lesnar responds later on backstage, "Want me to earn my way, huh? So how about I earn my way by beating your ass?"
Yep. So then they announced a steel cage match with Brock Lesnar versus Vince McMahon, where Kurt Angle was going to be the special guest referee. In hindsight, if you probably watch this in real time, you probably would have been surprised, but you know something's up here when that's the match right there. So then Brock Lesnar was found laid out backstage as if he'd been jumped by somebody. So he was going into the match hurt.
Sold like a motherfucker the entire match.
I mean, there's a reason that everyone calls Brock Lesnar one of the best sellers in WWE. That's why.
Even back then.
Because when he gives a shit, he will sell his ass off.
Yep.
You know what's crazy? The match I've been raving about, Case. He does really good sell job as well. Like staggering up when he gets hit with fucking moves. He does so good on that match in this year's SummerSlam. Like,
this past SummerSlam?
Yeah, dude, this SummerSlam was fucking great. I'm not even unironically saying that. That was a really great SummerSlam from top to bottom. And
check it out.
It was the first fucking pay-per-view. It was already preheated by Vince prior to Triple H taking over, but the booking all over that had fingerprints of Triple H. It was such a good fucking entertaining show.
And the WWE's been great ever since then. Like,
yeah, it's been. I mean, they've had a few slip-ups at women's tournaments, kind of but other than that, everything else has been on point.
What the shit? WWE is actually watchable now?
Oh, yeah. I'm a happy fucking wrestling fan right now, dude. AEW's fun. WWE's fun right now. Even fucking NXT is starting to fucking gain back some steam right now with the fucking Tyler Bate inclusion. This week. So I mean,
and I think I heard something about Pete Dunne teasing he might go back to being the bruiserweight.
Yeah.
But anyhow, continuing going into this feud,
I might have to start watching again.
That's what I'm telling you, yeah. But yeah, continuing. So Brock Lesnar, he acted like he got knocked out minutes into the match, so Vince was going to take an easy win, so Kurt put him in the ankle lock, and then Brock kicked up. We found out it was all a trap all on, it was all a ruse. And you have a great call by Michael Cole where he says, Has Brock Lesnar sold him soul to the devil himself, Mr. McMahon?
Bro, what a fucking goddamn
What
line.
A call.
Yeah, like Cole was
on fire. Cole was on fire in this 5-year period.
There were there were 3 instances, right? Since Triple H has been in charge now, when he was calling the UK and Mae Young Classic tournaments, and right here on SmackDown era with Paul Heyman. Yep. Honestly, my money, not the other 2 are fucking bad. He's really good now, especially.
But this is when Michael Cole was at his absolute
best commentary run, bar none, without question. Because he legitimately, it was just him. He wasn't trying to be the next JR. He wasn't trying to be a fucking spokesman for the WWE. He wasn't a corporate shill. He wasn't a fucking robot. It was just Michael Cole and Taz, and they fucking were so good here.
And it was also, he was as good as he's probably gonna be great now, but he was also young then too. So
he was it's crazy. He's great now, but like it's not. I'm not even kidding. Like from 2002 all the way to 2005, I want to say best run, because that was that entire time was run by Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was in the headset. He was giving Cole the directive. He wasn't screaming in his ear like fucking Vince would be doing. So.
But yeah, so Brock Lesnar revealed that he did this because of the video package, because of greed. He claimed that Kurt
Angle stopped being my friend when he took my World Heavyweight WWE Championship from me at Vengeance.
Yeah. So then, it led to this match. And you got kind of like a hybrid Brock Lesnar, where he was kind of like the UFC killer that he is now, and also that wrestler Brock Lesnar. It's kind of cool to see in hindsight.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar won the WWE Championship off Kurt Angle at SummerSlam. At WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar lost the WWE title to Kurt Angle at Vengeance. And in recent weeks, Brock Lesnar has changed. Brock Lesnar has morphed into a killing machine.
Yeah.
So we had the match, and throughout the beginning portions of the match, and I want to talk about this because you can't even tell. Kurt Angle was working through an injured hamstring in this match. It's like crazy to think about. You wouldn't even know it.
Oh my God! So this is where Perk Angle started.
Dude, yes.
This is where Perk Angle started.
I think Perk Angle started way before that. Actually, I think it might have been right around the time. What was the match with Shane McMahon? King of the Ring 2001.
King of the Ring
That's
2001.
when Kurt Angle probably started, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar start chain wrestling each other. Kurt Angle gets the upper hand on Brock Lesnar throughout much of it, and Brock Lesnar just gets pissed. He goes outside the ring. He throws steps around. He throws chairs around. He's just pissed. Eventually, Brock just takes the WWE Championship. He's like, "This is mine." He's just gonna go home. He's just leaving.
Angle runs after him up the ramp and clubs him in the back.
Yeah, and Kurt Angle attacks him. Throws him rib first into the ring apron, and eventually Brock Lesnar just gets a quick clothesline on Kurt Angle and starts targeting the back of Kurt Angle. He throws him into the steps. He actually gorilla presses him all the way on the outside at one point. It was crazy.
That was such a fucked up spot. Oh my god, I thought Kurt died. Jesus Christ.
And yeah, Brock would just dominate Kurt Angle with his power by hitting backbreakers. He actually hit I forget what they called it at the time, but he actually hits the shell shock in this match and does it easily better than Ryback ever has done it in his career. So
it's not even a competition.
And Kurt Angle would get some flowies in, but because of Brock Lesnar's power, he was never able to get a full advantage on Brock Lesnar for a while. Eventually, Kurt Angle mounts this epic comeback. He hits like 3 German suplexes in a row onto Brock Lesnar, throws him shoulder first into the post. He gets him into the ankle lock several times, but Brock Lesnar either gets the ropes or powers out of it. He gets an ankle slam on Brock, kicks out. He actually did this really cool like leg submission onto Brock Lesnar. It's like almost like a Rings of Saturn and Brutalizer. And he turns it into the ankle lock. It's like the smoothest transition I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking Kurt and Brock. I mean,
yeah.
Dude, we're talking about one that was an Olympic gold amateur wrestler, another one that was NCAA champion. They were going to have a fucking clinic and be able to transition from move to move easily.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's funny too is like, Brock almost beat Kurt in a legit shoot wrestling match as well. Like,
yeah,
it came down to the fucking wire according to Kurt. So like,
amateur exhibition.
Like when Kurt is almost bested by Brock. I mean, man, that just shows how much of a beast this dude is.
Yeah, for sure. So then the referee went down at one point, and Kurt has Brock in an ankle lock for like 20 seconds. I know it doesn't seem that long, but
every second is like an hour when you're in that damn hold.
So then eventually Mr. McMahon comes out, and this is actually where the camera got it right. So you could tell, I think, who's producing the SmackDown matches camera-wise versus who's producing the Raw matches camera-wise, because this is when they got it right. Vince from out of nowhere hits Kurt in the back with a chair. You didn't even see him. It allows Brock to hit the F5 onto Kurt Angle. He goes for the pin. Kurt kicks out, really close near fall. Then he goes for a second F5, and Kurt turns it again into the ankle lock, and he's in this move again for like 30 seconds. And this is after he's been put in this hold like 4 to 5 times at this point. And he tries to get to the ropes, but Kurt keeps pulling him away. And Brock Lesnar taps out to Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle retains championship.
That does not happen often.
Yeah, and Brock actually... And a lot of people, I think that Brock is selfish. He won't help anybody backstage. He actually insisted on tapping out to Kurt Angle to add to like his monster character that he was doing. Like that. Like if you guys don't think Brock knows anything about storytelling and stuff, if he's insisting on doing that, he knows what he's doing.
Brock is not a slouch, man. Like I don't know if I can recall another fucking match where Brock straight up tapped. I don't know if...
Yeah.
I think this might be the only match where he is straight up tapped out to anybody.
Yeah. I think the only other time he came close was the Iron Man match, but because the clock had...
But that was because the clock ran out. He was saved by the bell, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, another fucking awesome match.
But yeah, this match is like 4 3/4 stars. Awesome match right here.
Easily match of the night.
I actually think it's better than the Mania match because it wasn't plagued with it. Well, I guess Kurt was injured, but it wasn't like, you didn't have the botch 450. You didn't have the
Bot shooting star.
Well, it was the bot shooting star, yeah.
But yeah, you didn't have any of that. And then afterwards, on Vince McMahon's birthday, so this probably made James happy, Kurt Angle lays out Vince McMahon with an angle slam onto the steel chair, and I think James was just smiling when this happened. I think he was like laughing his ass off when this happened.
I mean, yeah, if I was a kid, yeah, sure. I didn't know.
I'm saying that
I didn't know Vince was an outright prick IRL by that.
No,
point.
I'm saying when you watched it, when you went back and watched the show like before the retro.
Yes. You misogynistic piece of shit. Fuck you.
But then maybe back then too, because Vince was the heel then, so maybe back then too, though.
Yeah, I mean, kayfabe and shoot. What's the difference?
Yeah. So then, this was actually filmed. This show took place on Vince's birthday, actually, and there's actually a report that like after the show, everyone like celebrated Vince's birthday, and Vince actually tried to get the Undertaker to do the Spinneroonie, but he wouldn't do it. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, it didn't happen though.
Leave well enough alone, fuck's sake.
But yeah, what a great match! Right? What do you guys think of this match? Before I
love it.
Yeah,
love it. You know what's funny too? Match. I give it 4 3/4. Right. I only give it that because I put this in perspective. Could you have fucking imagined if these guys were able to pull off a lot of the shit they were holding back? Like, keep in mind, Kurt, if allowed, could have done a 450.
Yeah.
Brock only botched once with the shooting star. He done it plenty of times before that botch, right?
In OVW, yeah.
Could you have fucking imagined a match where one of those guys was pulling that shit off?
If not both of them?
If not both of them. That would have been fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I think about it more, and it's like what they did do was so well that you probably didn't even need to add that. It would have been a nice addition, but honestly, I'll probably just give it 5 just for the fact that what they did do was so fucking excellent.
Yeah, why not?
Agreed.
And then afterwards, I mean, we've already said where the only thing I'll add is it led to the epic Iron Man match that's either loved or hated, depending on your tolerance for Iron Man matches. So,
personally, the only reason it's not top of my list is because there's commercial breaks. If you could see the whole match, easily at the top of my list.
Yeah, somebody needs to get the entire fucking footage of that match and put it on YouTube. Or even if it's just house show footage spliced in, like, that's fine by me. As long as you can get it all together in one piece, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because we need that full match. Because just what I saw from that, I knew it was 5-star. I wish I could have seen the whole thing.
Afterward, like I said, we've already mentioned with Brock and Kota. Well, Casey, you said you wanted to wrap up Brock, and like you had a special way to say what he is.
So where is Brock Lesnar now? Brock's doing the same thing he does in his off time. Driving fucking tractors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And causing mayhem with the fucking tractor, apparently. In WWE case.
Oh, dude, you think it's just in you think it's just in real life? Somebody's modded that entrance into 2K22.
No, they have not. Have they already?
Yeah. Check Twitter, man. It's on there.
No way. That's crazy.
Following this, we had
Rob Van Dam versus Kane.
No, we had it showed people in the crowd, and it showed Jamie Copley in the crowd who had won Diva search that year.
Oh, right.
I don't know where she is now because I actually forgot that happened before I did this. So
there was also was it before or after this coming match with the segment with Eric Bischoff on the Gurney?
After. It was after.
Okay.
Probably would have made sense. Thinking back, this is an example where Raw's structure's bad. It probably would have made more sense to do it before, but whatever. Next match.
Let's call it what it is. SmackDown's presentation on this pay-per-view? Great. Excellent. Raw's? Nope.
Yeah.
A lot of it, nope.
Yeah. So then we had the next match. Speaking of that, it was a no-holds-barred match. It was Kane versus Rob Van Dam. Oh, here we go. We've got a big story to talk about here. So
Kane unmasked.
Yeah, it was something that, I think everyone had wondered what Kane would be like if the mask came off, and we got our answer. So Kane unmasked, he laid out.
He was just a normal bald dude who thought he had scars.
Which is really weird, because he had scarring on the MSG show, didn't exist after that. It was like non-existent. So then he laid out LVD with a choke slam, and we found out that apparently it was RVD's idea to have that unmasked match because he thought Kane didn't need it.
Right.
So, yeah, this was kind of like where, like, there were things they did well with Kane's unmasking, but there was things that they really did badly. Like, honestly...
I think Adam Blampied handled the idea of Kane's unmasking much better.
Yeah. So...
Yep.
I'll talk about the good that came out of it. Obviously, him being on, like, house arrest and being shackled and everything was cool.
That was the most awesome visual you could have done for Kane. Kane in chains is cool.
Yeah,
Kane Tombstone,
such a based entrance.
Him Tombstone and Linda, cool. Him attacking RVD and like throwing him through the wall, cool.
Training up RVD in the back.
Slam the hell to Eric Bischoff, cool as hell.
And then here's the things that weren't cool. Him not wanting to fight Eric Bischoff because he didn't want to do what people wanted, even though that's nothing that Kane even though that's not what Kane would do.
Why didn't you just make him a fucking monster babyface?
Yeah.
Like, that was, let's just call it what it is. They wanted to make him this despicable fucking monster. They were going, this is one of the earliest signs of them going against the fans. If you gave this fucking guy to Heyman, Heyman would have had this guy running as the top monster babyface, and he'd be fighting Brock Lesnar for the fucking title right now.
Yep.
I'm not even kidding. Like, it's not hard to book. This guy was getting the fucking desired reaction you wanted out of him. He was starting to get white hot after he did that chokeslam to Bischoff. He was doing this crazy fucking shit. He was tombstoning Linda. Like, honest to God, Shane should have probably been the heel in that, even though it was the babyface doing a fucked up thing to an old lady. But he was so fucking over.
I know. The other bad was him lighting Jay Owen. Yeah, him lighting Jay Owen fighter was like good but bad. Good idea.
I'd say it's so bad it's good that it could have been redeemed.
Yeah, and then it led to this match with RVD. And they used to be tag team partners and everything. And let's talk about the match. It was made a no-holds-barred match. Again, why wasn't it that way to begin with? I don't know. Again, it's Raw, so nothing makes sense that happens on Raw. So, Kane came out. He dominated RVD in the beginning portions of the matchup. RVD had some small flurries, like he hit a moonsault off the barricade onto Kane, which was cool. Kane hit him with a ladder. He went to do something with the stats, but RVD got out of it. RVD knocked Kane off the turnbuckle, and he went face first onto the barricade. RVD hit a really cool springboard leg kick onto Kane. That was cool. He hit the Rolling Thunder while Kane had a steel chair onto him. Kane sat up from it, took RVD, drop kicked the steel chair into his face. Not exactly a Van Daminator, but like a version of it. And then eventually, Kane hit a tombstone pile driver onto RVD, onto the steps on the outside. Put him in the ring.
Yeah, this was after dodging the coast-to-coast with the chair into the corner.
And Kane hit the tombstone, put him in the ring, and covered him and got the win. Now, I gave the match 3.5 stars because it was technically a good match, but this match did not do a good service of Kane. Like, this should have been Kane just dominating RVD the whole time and all that type of stuff. Like,
mean, and again, like, he legitimately should have just been doing, like, a babyface thing here. Like, he shouldn't have been a heel. Really, like, that was the issue, is that this guy was... Honestly, the minute they fucking turned him, He should have been causing mischief all over the place. I don't care if you're a babyface or heel, to the point where Eric Bischoff is so fucking petrified of him that he legitimately trades him to SmackDown.
Yeah,
that's really the best use to fucking Kane, honestly.
I mean, the biggest thing that did him in was, getting beat up by Shane, but obviously not hurting Eric Bischoff, because that was just stupid. That was the dumbest thing. I think that was like the end of his character right there.
Well, considering the fact that he just kept doing random shit, he would basically have a competitive match with Shane in an ambulance match too. Like, yeah. Is the match good as a match? Fuck yeah, that match rules. But as a story, made no fucking sense. How is Shane fucking competing against Kane, right? Kane should have been going right up against Brock.
Absolutely.
Kane should have been going crazy on SmackDown, and he and Undertaker should have been fucking teaming on SmackDown after the fucking... Like, that would have been the best use of Kane instead of what they ultimately ended up doing. Because then... it just kept getting worse from here. It spiraled out of fucking control. Because, like, after he lost to Taker, he then fucking went on this random weird fucking shit with...
Matt Hardy and Lita.
The Lita thing.
Yeah.
Which he then became a big... That's when they finally turned him fucking face, is when the miscarriage happened.
Which did make sense.
It did make sense. I'll tell you why. Because the dude who's fucking all upset about it, along with Lita... sorry, didn't he just do that thing? Didn't he R-word you? Didn't he do that to you? Like, why are you all of a sudden upset? Why are you on Kane's side all of a sudden? He forced himself onto you. And now all of a sudden... because what Snitsky did was what?
And then when Lita turned on him, and somehow she was a heel out of it.
It just got fucking worse. And then, by the way, when the thing happened between Edge and her in real life, they just completely ixnayed Kane out of the story entirely. And then he never recovered after that happened.
Yeah, Kane.
You can argue he never fucking recovered. He had a decent little tag run with Big Show. And then, even then, it's just like, it was been mediocre ever since. It legit has been mediocre. This dude could have been way fucking better if he was traded to SmackDown. I almost guarantee he could have been. I'm not saying he would have been, like, the world champion or anything, but he could have been in contention for it. He could have been doing fucking tag title run with Taker. He could have been doing so much better shit than what he ultimately ended up doing.
I know, yeah. So we just pretty much said what Kane was. We've done a video on RVD where he is. Check out a SummerSlam 2002 review. Casey, is there anything additional you want to add to this? Star rated wise or anything like that?
I think we covered everything.
Yeah. Like I said, this is an example, I think, where you have a really good match, but the storyline and characters just doesn't make any sense.
At all.
That's an example of that.
Like, I'm not even saying... Like, even if you wanted to be... like, yes, it's a no-holds-barred, so I can understand Van Dam being competitive, but, like, the match should have been structured a little bit differently. More in Kane's favor.
But,
you know.
Afterwards, Eric Bischoff was about to get interviewed by Terry Reynolds, but he just sent her away. Then Linda McMahon came up, slapped him in the face, and that was it. Like I said, this would have made more sense for this to... be in between right before the Kane match. It didn't really make sense that it wasn't. And why was she not in a neck brace, by the way? Like, didn't she just get tombstoned by Kane? Not that.
It's McMahon's. Who cares? They heal, apparently. They heal very quick.
I could do a thing where Linda McMahon is, but I just really don't care right now. I'm too mad.
Linda McMahon is now senator and doing
whatever.
Politic. She's running her own sham, so I don't feel too bad for her either, as much as Vince, to be fair, because she's a fucking political asshole now, pretty much.
So then Triple H is backstage. He's looking at the World Heavyweight Championship as if it's going to be the last time he looks at it, but Ric Flair comes up to him and tells him that he's not losing it. He's just going to be renting it out pretty much, and you'll be leaving with that title. So let's talk about that match. We have the Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Triple H with Ric Flair defending against Kevin Nash, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, and Goldberg. All types of story going on in this match. I like it when they...
Just general japery and chaos. There was a segment where Chris Jericho cut Kevin Nash's hair. There's the whole thing between Triple H and Orton. There's
Triple
just a whole...
this is another chapter in the Triple H Shawn Michaels rivalry. This is another chapter in the Chris Jericho Shawn Michaels rivalry. Goldberg and Chris Jericho had a history going on at the time. Kevin Nash and Goldberg, which they didn't bring up, but
I will give credit the fact that they tied every loose end here. Very well done, especially with 6 people. I'd argue story going into this was done infinitely better than the first chamber match. It's just the ending of the match that kind of ruins it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
So, started with the match. Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho start the match. They kind of just did some chain wrestling, hit bulldogs and things like that, just kind of feeling each other out. I think it was a great choice to have them start the match. Then Randy Orton came in. I always hate when they do like this, the dramatic effects. It's like when they win the chamber, though, it's like bump, 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 and then it has like the buzzer. This was worse because it had the buzzer playing the whole time. So it's like do not watch the match with headphones if you're gonna watch it.
I should know. My ears are still bleeding.
Randy Orton came in. He was on a roll. He hit the high cross body onto Chris Jericho. And then he hit the neck breaker onto Shawn Michaels. Onto Chris Jericho, He clotheslined Michaels out of the ring, threw him into the chamber. He just went on a little bit of a roll. It was kind of like a bit of a workhorse match for a while. And then Kevin Nash comes in, and the match kind of stalls for a bit. And it gets really bad for a bit because he's just not that good, in my opinion. You could just tell this was his last match because he just did not care. He threw Orton into the chain link fence, and then he attacked Chris Jericho, busted him open, and he just was a powerhouse. And then he just got sweet chin music by Kevin Nash, rolled up by Jericho, and was gone in 2 minutes. Terrible. Then
he laid waste to the 2.
Then Triple H came in. He got sweet chin music by Shawn Michaels. He doesn't do all that much in this match because he was working through a groin injury, which is why he had those terrible shorts on. Then he laid waste to everybody because typical Kevin Nash fashion, doesn't put anybody over on the way out. So there you go.
Yep.
Then Goldberg gets in there, and I'm not a Goldberg guy, but the match is awesome when Goldberg gets in there. He just runs roughshod.
He just destroys people.
He spears one and hits.
Doesn't he kick a pod open at one point?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. He spears Orton and lays him out with the jackhammer, eliminated. He spears Jericho through the pod. Michaels gets a little bit of...
By the way, including me from back in the day, I don't care what you say. 2017 was not the Goldberg of old. This is the closest to Goldberg of old as you will ever get in the WWE period.
Goldberg spears Jericho through the pod. Then he goes into the ring. Shawn Michaels gets some offense in on amazingly all of his signature moves, but he misses the sweet chin music. Goldberg spears him, jackhammer, eliminated. And then he spears, jackhammers Jericho, eliminated. So then it's just down to Goldberg versus Triple H. And Triple H is still in his pod at this point. And Ric Flair is trying to do everything he can to keep Goldberg from Triple H.
Both Triple H and Ric Flair are flipping off Goldberg. Triple H obviously with a smirk from inside the pod. Goldberg smiles, chuckles, and then boots through the glass.
Wow.
And he just destroys Triple H. He eviscerates him. He busts him open.
Pretty much the only thing he doesn't do is dismember him.
Yeah. He goes for a spear, and this is where the match gets bad because it's the finish. Triple H had been handed a sledgehammer from Ric Flair. He hits Goldberg with the sledgehammer, puns him, and
puns him? Puns him? He makes a pun out of his name?
It might as well be a fucking pun on life with this match.
But yeah, he pins Goldberg, and the match is over. That's it. That's the end of Goldberg right there.
Fuck's sake. Have him Kick out! Why?
Because he didn't just the sledgehammer didn't just, finish the match for Goldberg. He was done. He was like knocked out. Afterwards, the rest of the members of Evolution, minus Batista, because he was hurt at this time, get into the ring. Triple H and hits Goldberg off the head with a sledgehammer twice. He goes over the ropes. They handcuff him to the chain link fence, and then Triple H attacks Goldberg, hits him again with a sledgehammer, and he tells Goldberg, "You're never going to see this World Heavyweight Championship ever again, Goldberg." What a terrible finish to an awesome chamber match immediately.
They did such irreparable damage to Goldberg that by the time he wanted the fucking pay-per-view after this, nobody fucking cared. Crickets.
Yeah.
They fucked him over so bad. This should have been Goldberg's coming out party. And I'm not saying Goldberg's the greatest fucking worker. He's definitely not. But this was where he was the strongest in. And you ruin it in one stroke of a fucking pen. Call a fucking audible.
Yeah.
Fuck. You have referees with a fucking earpiece in. There is no reason on God's green earth why you don't hear that fucking crowd and you don't tell Goldberg to kick the fuck out of that fucking sledgehammer shot. Not one.
The biggest reason,
especially if he kicked out, holy crap, could you imagine the white hot reaction that would have gotten?
The biggest reason I heard that he didn't win this belt, I'm not confusing it, this is just the reason they give. They wanted to do a one-on-one match between him and Triple H, but because Triple H had his groin injury, he couldn't do anything, and they thought it would have been more impactful if Goldberg beat Triple H one-on-one. Boy, was it not when that happened.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Like, that was the moment. At that point, especially, because Unforgiven did way less buys than this shit. This is when most eyes are going to be on him.
Yeah.
Put him over when the most eyes are going to be on him, you dumb fucks. Not on a B-level fucking pay-per-view. Even if Unforgiven was probably decent, and it was, from what I remember. No. No, you do it on a Big Four. That's why the Big Fours are supposed to fucking matter.
And this was just like, I'm going to tell you, too, how bad of a decision this was. Let's talk about what happened with Goldberg. So, yeah, he won the belt. Nobody cared. He had a lackluster run with the belt. He beat Triple H at Survivor Series in a lame Survivor Series main event. He lost the belt at Armageddon. He didn't even lose the belt at a Big Four. And he didn't even... and he
lost it in a triple threat, and Triple H pinned Kane.
No, he pinned him. Because Kane laid him out.
I'm sorry, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it buried both monsters.
Yeah. And then...
sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah, then Goldberg went into the Rumble. He didn't win the Rumble.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it was because of Brock, so that's fair enough. Then he had that lame match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And I'm going to tell you, by the way, everyone says that match is lame because of the wrestlers. Let's take a look. Let's picture what would have happened had Goldberg gone over, how much better that match at WrestleMania with Brock could have been, by the way. I'm just doing...
Yeah.
And then Goldberg...
Because then Goldberg probably would have resigned and they wouldn't have gotten booed out of the building.
Yep. Then Goldberg...
You fucked everything up with one stroke of a pen. This is why I say it's like, look, I'm not saying you can predict the entire future, but this is an ego-driven business, right? You need to have somebody that's going to have the fucking egos in check, that's also going to have some fucking decorum in that fucking locker room. Especially on Raw, Vince was not that guy. Even in 2003. And it fucking showed here.
I want to talk about something else. Let's talk about the damage from Goldberg's lackluster WWE one. It's so bad, they brought him back, and it's done damage nowadays. Because it damaged Kevin Owens' his Universal title run.
It damaged Kevin Owens, it damaged Brock Lesnar, it damaged fucking Rollins, it damaged Ziggler, it damaged The Fiend especially.
Jericho, because he probably wouldn't have left. So I'm just telling you, I want to tell you, this is the damages that you have from booking someone like crap. It doesn't just affect the company then.
You affect you affect the company there and now and forever until you fucking get fucked off.
Yep.
And because of sexual misconduct. And quite frankly, good. About fucking time. It was long overdue anyway for you to get the fuck out. Get the F out. Ha.
But as for where other guys are in this match, we've mentioned Triple H, we've mentioned Shawn Michaels, we've mentioned Chris Jericho, Randy Orton. You know, basically, I think we've mentioned. No, we haven't mentioned Randy Orton yet. He hasn't been on any of the shows.
No.
He would go on a year later to. He would go on later in the year to win the Intercontinental belt, have a really good run with it. He would then.
Mick Foley thanks him for that.
Yep. He would then lose it to Edge. He would win the world title the next year. Be the youngest world heavyweight champion in the company.
Had a really bad babyface run during the title run, where Triple H then buried his own fucking protege.
Yep. Then he had
a career resurgence by going to SmackDown and being booked with The Undertaker.
And then, it was really... after that happened, Randy Orton was on the rise. He had like a bit of a bad year in 2006, mainly because of his own fault, because of attitude problems.
I will say in 2005 also, we gloss over this fact if we didn't mention it. Also was the sole survivor of Team SmackDown that year.
Yeah,
and another classic fucking Survivor Series. A lot of people call Orton Mr. Survivor Series. This is why.
Yeah, and then he went on to do the Age of Orton gimmick and like the Legend Killer gimmick when in 2007, just taking everybody out, winning championships, and then
I would say in 2006, you say he had a bad year. World Tag Team Champion with Edge, rated RKO, underrated.
Yeah.
So
and then that was more the end of the year though, so he's still a bad year.
2007, the Age of Orton happened, which then transitioned nicely into the Viper, and that's kind of what he's been ever since.
Yeah, Legacy,
and he's just been.
The Authority, all that other stuff.
He had he had like a period of time from like 2010 to 2012 where he wasn't interested. And then the Authority, he was. Then he had the Vines.
I would say 2010 to 2012, while he wasn't interesting, had really good matches with Christian at least in between that time.
Yeah, definitely. And then
shame they booked Christian to shit in that feud.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would go on to have like a career with Surgeons in 2016, maybe 2017. Actually, no, not 2017, because I remember he was not. Yeah, he was in bad storylines. Maybe 2018 more so, when he came back as a heel and like feuded with Jeff Hardy, did the Cell match and everything.
I guess, yeah. I mean, they flip flop on Orton now. It's like
now he's having
do we want him to be a baby? Do we want him to be a baby face Orton, or do we want him to be a heel Orton? And yeah,
now he's had like a resurgence.
And for my money, he's better as a heel.
Yes.
Yeah. Although I will say, the face one he's had with Riddle as OK Bro has been very good. Like that's the best baby face one I think he's had in a while.
The only one that I think I could really consider, and it's not really much of a run, it's more of just a small time period, is the time where he turned babyface against Rollins.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the whole beatdown they did on Rollins.
Yeah.
Seth, I plan on making you my bitch.
And then as for Kevin Nash, this would be his last match in WWE for like 7 years. Or longer than that. He would go on.
Was it? He came back, feuded with Triple H and CM Punk.
Yeah.
And then
ruined CM Punk some more. He was in TNA before that for a while. I believe he aligned himself with like.
Main Event Mafia, where he at one point he was playing a commentator while the Main Event Mafia took over the whole show, and he was Chet Lemon.
Yeah.
Along with Black Snow.
I think before that he was aligned with Jeff Jarrett and Scott Hall as some type of faction, I remember.
In fairness, there is one positive that Kevin Nash did contribute, and that was reinvigorate the X Division with like a bunch of different gimmicks. It's he actually is the reason why Black Machismo became a thing.
That's
he heard
true.
The Macho Man impression, he's like, dude, you got to make that into a gimmick, brother.
And then he did. They reformed the NWO Wolfpack and called it the Band.
He might have intended the Black Machismo thing as a rib, but God bless Jay Lethal, he made it work.
Yeah, he did.
And then he did, yeah. He to this day, it's like his theme song in AEW now.
Well,
and
it's
then
his opening theme, and then it transitions into some weird beat.
Yeah, and then Kevin Nash went on to have some weird thing with Stin where they were trying to warn them that Main Event Mafia was coming, and then there was too little, too late. He left TNA after that, went back to WWE and did all the things James said. And now he's gone into the Hall of Fame twice, one as himself, and then one with the NWO.
Yeah.
And occasionally, the thing that he does now is when they want to bring back the NWO or a version of it, he'll be a part of it. Which I don't know if they're ever going to really put it back now that Scott Hall has passed, because there's really no reason to do that now.
Now he's running, and now he has a podcast called Click This with Sean Oliver and Conrad Thompson as the producer. So,
that's
good.
There
you go.
So as much as we wish they could bring back the NWO for Nostalgia Pops, there really is no NWO without the Outsiders, and there is no Outsiders without Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Scott Hall started the NWO. You can't have the founder fucking not be there. I mean, unless you do a tribute memoriam with like the only person I could see in that might be X-Pac. So maybe you could do a reunion with like Nash, Hogan, and X-Pac.
But X-Pac, I don't think X-Pac's coming back to WWE.
X-Pac is long fucking done with that company ever since, what was it, 2019?
Yeah, when the Hell in a Cell fiasco happened.
He was fucking done then, so.
You know what the best part about that is, I know this is off topic.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I take that back because now Triple H is in charge, so yes. Could actually happen, my bad.
So, we gotta do a star rating for this Chamber match. I'm gonna have Casey go first, and then me, then James. Casey, if you had to give this match a star rating, what would you give it?
Well, factoring the ending out, it gets a solid 3. Otherwise, I'd probably say a star and 3/4.
So I'm gonna tell you where I started, and I'm gonna tell you what the overall thing is. So it probably starts at like 3 1/4, because even with the Goldberg stuff, as awesome as it is, it's also like a really short Chamber match. I feel like the Chamber match is way too short. They should, and also too, the Kevin Nash bit was really bad. But I really liked seeing the workhorse of like Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, and Chris Jericho go at it. And I liked, even though they had to do it, I did like the bit where like Shawn Michaels, like they did the storytelling where he laid out Triple H with the super kick and everything. That was cool. Again, I think that maybe if this match would be better too, had Triple H been fully able to wrestle and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that also factors in, and then it goes up to like 3 1/2 when
Goldberg comes in.
Yeah, and then the sledgehammer shot happens. This is probably too much of a drop, but it goes down to like a star and 3/4 when Goldberg loses. I know that's probably too much of a drop. Doesn't make any sense, but that's just how that's how feelings happen. I'm not even a Goldberg guy, and I'm even mad about this. So I'm gonna go a star and 3/4. I know everyone's in the comments, and Casey and James are probably thinking you're crazy because that's not how math works. But that's just what I'm doing. It's a star and 3/4. All right, what about you, James?
I'm just gonna straight up say no stars because that ending ruined it for me. There's a reason why I say the match, the story in the match, was done really well because you had all these intertwined fucking angles, really.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, right, we touched on Jericho's Michaels, we touched on Orton and Michaels, we touched on Orton and Triple H, we touched on Triple H Michaels, we touched on Triple H Jericho, we touched on Jericho Goldberg, we touched on Goldberg and Triple H, we touched on...
Don't forget...
there's also Goldberg and Nash, Goldberg and Michaels, like, Jericho everybody had history with each other up to this point.
And had a reason to be in this match.
Like, if you really go back, we're talking from 97 onward, everybody had history with each other. In some regard.
95.
I include 97, I include 97 because of, or I'm sorry, 98 because of Nash and Goldberg.
You can even make an argument 95 because of Michaels and Diesel.
Yeah, so, like, everybody had history with each other at some point. And a lot of it was recent, and it was still ongoing, right? there was so much missed opportunity here. Number one, how you don't do a spot where Goldberg gets his own back on Nash, I have no fucking clue. How do you not? Like, this the same guy who beat the shit out, basically beat him because of a cattle prod. How do you not do something similar of that nature to fucking Nash or something? Like, that should have been done. That was a missed opportunity there. You teased Orton and Triple H. You didn't even get to that part. You didn't even get anywhere there. You had Triple H and Jericho, who legitimately had beef in 02, kayfabe and shoot, which never got fucking revisited. And the last time they were in a fucking cage was in Hell in a Fucking Cell.
Well, to be fair, they couldn't really do much with Triple H because he was injured. So
he was injured in 2002. Who gives a shit? You worked with the torn groin before, buddy. Put your working boots on. Stop being a bitch. Like, that's no excuse. Sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. I get it to a certain extent because I don't like... But I've seen Triple H work through, like, far worse.
Yeah.
He worked through a torn quadricep, a fucked up throat. Like, I've seen this dude work through bigger fucking injury, you know? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, that was just taking liberties at that point. It's like,
he's big leaguing everybody.
He's big, yes. And I don't even know if half of it his own fault or if it's the company or if it's just the culture or if it's a combination of all three. Because seriously, how do you see all this storyline and don't do anything with it and just have Goldberg... Like, that's the issue. If you were to have Goldberg come out last and told every other story prior to that, and then have Goldberg come in, do the cattle prod on Nash or some shit just to fucking get his own back, and then eliminate him, and then fucking eliminate everybody else the way he did, fucking had Triple H do the sledgehammer shot, have Goldberg kick out, jackhammer, pin, 1, 2, 3, this would have been a 5-star chamber match. Seriously. Like, you had so much missed opportunity here. It's fucking mind-boggling to me that you have that much story with 6 different people and you do barely anything with it. Unreal. Unreal. I don't even know what to say, really. That's all I got.
Yeah. It's time to do a letter grade for SummerSlam 2003. I still don't even know what to give this yet. Let's start with Casey, since he picked the show. Mainly so I can kind of look over my notes and kind of make a decision.
I'm going to say a B-, mainly for the SmackDown matches.
I'm giving it a solid B because most of the matches were good. But
yeah.
Some of the story didn't make any sense, and there were a couple of duds in there.
I think I'm gonna agree with James because I think SmackDown carried the show, which is not
way storyline wise and match wise, definitely carried it. I mean, there were good matches on Raw too, but
yeah, but because we had the WWE title match and the
and the Fatal 4-Way.
The 4-Way. Kane versus RVD was a really good match, but doesn't really do much of it. Yeah, story made no sense. Taker versus A-Train was decent. The tag title match was good, and that's like the only storyline progression that was good that happened on the Raw side of things. The Cruiserweight, I am factored with the Cruiserweight title match because I did see it, so that was decent. But yeah, the duds on this show are really bad duds, like Shane McMahon versus Eric Bischoff. Even though I know it's cheating, it's a positive and a negative. Kane versus RVD is also a negative because of the story made no sense. And the chamber match just really brings the show down. I do think and also I'm adding this as a negative just because I know they didn't have a lot to work with. Not having an Intercontinental Championship match on the show was a crying shame also.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't just fucking get another number 1 contender at this point. I don't know why.
And then no women's match on the show either. Also has to get taken.
Yeah.
And then
who did you really have? I mean, you only had like what 5 to 6 great workers. What was it? Victoria, Trish. You still could have done something, I guess. Yeah. Trish, Lita, Molly.
You didn't have Lita at this time. You didn't. I don't think you had. Lita at
that's
the time.
right. Lita was injured. Right.
But still, you could have found a way to get a women's title match on the show somehow.
Who was even the women's champion at this time?
I think it's Molly Holly, I believe.
Wasn't Jazz on the show?
Yeah, so she could have
done something with Jazz.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think SmackDown. If you definitely want to watch the show, definitely check out the U.S. title match, WWE title match, and I guess Undertaker versus A-Train. But you could go the rest of your life without seeing that match. But yeah, I'll give it a solid B. It's like a low B though. Like it's probably like an 85 out of 100.
No, that's middle of the road B. If you're talking about, we're talking like 83.6.
No, I'm saying like because B minus would be 83 would be 84.
Yeah, no, yeah. So if you're grading it a low B, we're talking 83.6 because that's right around the B range, right at the start of the B range. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, 83.6. But yeah, that's the end of the Retro Wrestling Review Series. We do apologize, Casey. We did. James, you didn't do your grade. Did you do your letter grade or?
Yeah. He said solid B.
Yeah. Okay. You agreed with me.
We do apologize, Casey. We waited. I think your SummerSlam pick low, but sometimes that's just gonna happen. You
say you rated my SummerSlam pick low, and yet I rated it the lowest out of the three of us.
Yeah, he did. B minus.
I did it. So let's ask, like, what was it? What was it that was B minus for you then? Before we end this video, because
I just felt the duds hit me harder.
Okay.
Fair
yeah,
enough.
that's true. They would know. Maybe two. I think one final thing I'll say. Maybe we would grade this show higher too. Not only if Goldberg did win, but also if Kurt and Block main evented, we might rate this show higher too.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Then again, I do wonder what would have happened to Kurt and Block if it did main event after that. I don't even think it would have gotten a good reaction. So.
No, probably not. Especially if you followed that up with the fucking chamber.
Yeah.
Or you had it follow the chamber or something.
Yeah, that crowd would have been dead. That crowd would have been checked out.
Yeah. But anyhow, that's the end of this retro. If you want to know what the next retro pick is, it's either going to be SummerSlam 2000, Noah's pick, or Chris Dodd's pick to start our UK Wrestling Watch series. He picked No Mercy UK, technically the first No Mercy pay-per-view, but it's not it. So
and that would have been in '99, right?
You're correct. I believe so.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah, Chris Dodd and I will be seeing each other in person Saturday, so we'll be doing it then.
Send me over that footage when you get a chance.
So yeah, that's exciting to do.
Also, do something about your mic quality because for some reason the mic is not connecting. I don't know what's going on. I've noticed that on Spark, but obviously I figured I'd let you know that now.
Okay.
Either that or record your audio separate on Audacity with your Bluetooth.
Oh. It's not even popping up on here actually, so maybe.
Yeah,
we'll
what
see.
On your webcam app?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you have your webcam on Discord. I'm saying off air.
Okay, but anyhow, yeah, let's do some plugs and promotions. We'll start with Casey because he's got the least amount of stuff to plug. So.
Actually, he has a lot to plug. I think.
Not quite as much as you and Owen, but I do have a few things. So follow me on Twitter at ctroop19. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Channel name is Luke Lynch. I am under the umbrella of For the Win Productions and Sanity Works Studios. I'm also on Twitch, Luke12 Lynch. So follow me there, and yeah, follow me all the way to whenever I next see Noah to cover the end of the G1.
Yeah,
that'll be over on his channel.
You also have Twitter. Don't forget your Twitter.
I said my Twitter. It's the first thing I said.
Oh, okay, dur. Yeah, and his YouTube.
Wake up, dumbass. There'll be a quiz later.
Yeah, YouTube.com, by the way, /user/mentalnut1120 is the YouTube URL if you want to check out his channel. stay tuned because we are doing episode 4 of Stable Wars that we totally didn't do before. It didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. Check that out. That will be this upcoming Monday by the time you all see this. So go check that out.
Is that all you have to plug, James?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. I forgot I'm going next. Okay, so as far as that goes,
although to be fair, that was more a plug for my channel than anything else because that series does take place on my channel.
On my channel, you can check me out on youtube.com/user/jhebertside95. That's JHEBERTSIDE95.
Which is also a Twitter handle.
Which is also my Twitter handle at jhebert95. On my YouTube channel, Indie Force episode 26 is going to be on the way. Should be scheduled by the time you all see this, if not a little bit after this retro is premiering. So be on the lookout on my channel because it should be coming up at some point during this week. So check that out. Also check out Weymouth Youth Wrestling. I always plug that. YouTube.com/user/WYW Pride. If you haven't watched Immortal or Gold Rush, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you. Go watch that. Start
watching in chunks.
Check out Noah Foster's channel. ATW View Impromptu should be coming up at some point this week as well. That will be on Noah's end, and I will be the one streaming it. Should be an intro for ATW View going forward, as well as Simple Man's Bracketology and A Simple Take will have an intro as well. It's going to be FTWized, if you will. So definitely be on the lookout for those. And obviously check me out on the Jeff Meacham Network, where we do pay-per-view coverage and open mic night and a bunch of other stuff on Jeff Meacham's channel. So check that out. And if you haven't already, checked out the other retros that we have done right here on the iCard. So there you go.
All right, I'll close this out.
So yeah, as for me...
Wait, hold on. Before we close it out, do you remember your catchphrase at the end? We're going to practice before.
No.
Okay. If it's like... we'll talk to you later, or if you're watching this in the past, in the future, or something like that, right?
You know what? I'll just do it next time because
I would have thought it was. I would have thought it was just, hey, you're my friend. Watch my shit.
Wait.
No, it's.
I'm doing it. We're impromptu. Look up on the YouTubes. I can do it. We can do it. We can do it. Hold on.
I'll plug my stuff real quick.
Yeah. You plug your stuff while he's doing that.
As for me, I got a lot to plug. AEW Spark, you're going to see a new episode every week. It usually ends up being Sundays and Mondays, because that's just the way my schedule works out, apparently. I hope if everything can work out, I'm going to have my first guest this week. It's going to be James Hebert, which is going to be interesting because he was on the Noah's format, so I don't know if he's going to be like laying into me or if he's going to be like a disgruntled guest because there's been new takeover and everything, but we'll have to wait and see.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, hopefully that can work out. Like I said, the past retros on this channel, and the upcoming one, No Mercy UK, because I think by the time you guys see this video, that won't be out yet.
All right, now hold on, because I gotta play this. All I got for that one.
And we would talk to you guys later, and since it's being filmed in the past, in the future.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we will talk to you guys later, and since this is being filmed in the past and the future, that's your ending catchphrase. Okay, cool.
And then the last plug is hopefully Chris Dobb and I will have time to do it. We're actually going to do a rundown since we're going to be in person. We haven't done a rundown in a while. So
oh wow,
Chris Dodd and I are mainly going to talk about WWE and AEW because that's primarily the things we watch. He'll probably mainly talk about AEW since I talk about AEW every week anyways. So that'll mainly be him hosting that part of it. So
okay, cool.
That'll be an interesting podcast, I guess.
You know what? If you want, we could do a double thing where you talk about the WWE stuff with him, and I can get together with Noah on Discord call. And we can host the indie talk or whatever.
Sure, we can work it out.
And we can kind of, if you want, you could record one video for WWE, another video for AEW, and then I'll record my own video with Noah and I covering the indie shit. Perfect.
Yeah.
There's our rundown.
And then so that's basically everything plug related. Also check out CM Brothers and No One Talking at YouTube channels. We plan on getting those back up and running again too, and depending on when my cousin has time to do it now and stuff, and also me. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Unless you're watching this in the past.
Hold on. Let's do it
Since
one more
this is
time.
being recorded in the past.
Since this is being recorded in the past and the future. Let's try that again.
Okay.
One more time. We got it.
And
talk to you guys later. And since this is being recorded in the past, talk to you again in the future.
We doing all the classics, you heard it, then I grabbed it. Flow like Method Man, then run like I'm Rabbit. Soon as I hear the bass line, it be my FaceTime. Music's in my veins, so just in case I'm without my iPod or a media player, I'll check my